Hello, everyone watching on SpeedGaming Live, and welcome back to the SNES Super Stars Marathon. My name is Lord Batsy. I am joined here by Moon Blizzard,
Hello, everyone.
and we are going to be playing Chrono Trigger Jets of Time, which is a randomizer for Chrono Trigger. It is an open world randomizer in which players will begin with a couple of free characters, access to 2 time periods, and a winged epoch. And the players will then complete different dungeons and other checks to collect more characters and key items in hopes of finishing the game either through the Ocean Palace or through the Black Omen. And erasers are going to get started in just a second here.
Yeah, so today we have Lira, SLR, Azarkale, and Sen Von Jester. And let's hope for a really fun, really nice, awesome race.
Yes, we are playing standard race flags and the boss randomization on top of that. And if anyone hasn't watched a Jets of Time race in a little while, we do have a newer version of Boss Rando. The old one was pretty limited. This one is very flexible, very interesting, so it's really fun to show off.
Indeed, and when we are going to see some bosses that are quite unusual for the other players of Jets of Time. And let's hope they show up today.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can be quite nasty sometimes. Let's see. Runners are getting ready. We shall start really soon.
Yes.
Okay, everyone is ready. Okay, let's do this. Good luck, and we'll be starting off in 15 seconds.
All right, here we go. So our racers are going to begin with 2 free characters. That's basically your Chrono and Luca vanilla slots. And probably they will be getting a 3rd character out of the front of the cathedral in 600 AD as one of the first things. Looks like Chrono is one of the first characters, but we're renaming Chrono up on on Lyra's screen to name him SVJ, and Frog is the other starting character.
Interesting.
And Frog is named Kale.
So in Jets of Time, we have the following character locations to go for. So as Betsy said, 2 characters. We're starting off with 2 characters, and they Seed, Chrono, and Frog. There is another character that's available by Cathedral as soon as you finish the Nagaet fight. And when you finish off Cathedral, there is another character in the castle available, which would be Vanilla Amal.
Yes. And now that Chrono's mother has disappeared through the time gate, they're going to get going in just a second here.
And you're going to be, you see that's really fast. It's like the almost no dialogues, no cutscenes. It's a game and it's fast. And start out with the epoch when you're flying around already.
Yep, and everyone is going to have their own path for the very beginning of the game. So as we can see, everyone is already split off. We see Lyra grabbing the tab in the shop in Pori. Azure Kale is going to raid the Sunken Desert. There's a lot of treasure in here if you're good at skipping the battles to grab it. And St. Von Jester checked Snail Stop, and the Snail Stop item for sale is the Dreamstone, which is a Go Mode item for the Tyranno Lair to Ocean Palace Go Mode. So that is really good to know.
Really good. Yeah, for these several initial minutes, the runners, they would like to grab some loot, maybe some starting weapons, and buy a list of several items the consumables that they really need, such as shelters, meat tonics, eaters, revives, and heals to remove status effects. So they ought to go and search for all those consumables and getting a good stock of those before starting their initial fights.
Well, it's a good shop down on SVJ's screen there. Pretty much everything but revives. That's the Chorus 1000 shop. We sometimes call it the secret shop because it's not obvious that that's a vendor.
Yeah, so we see Sanford Jester already checking his first free reward in terms of key item, and it's the Prism Shard.
Shard. I'm
So
sure.
Go
Sorry.
Go on.
Sure. The Prism Shard is not necessarily a runner's favorite item to see. First of all, what the Prism Shard unlocks is the King's Trial side quest, which is from the Fated Hour part of Vanilla Chrono Trigger. So first of all, you do need Marl to pull off the quest. She is required. So I'm sure anyone who picks up the Prism Shard is going to be wondering if they're going to be seeing her. The other thing is the quest can be a little bit annoying and time-consuming. The save points aren't in good places. No one really likes getting forced to do Prism Shard. And even worse is you can also get forced to do Moonstone, which requires the Prism Shard, and it also requires you to have access to both prehistory and the future. You charge it into a Sunstone and give it to Melchior. So when items are behind that particular chain, no one is particularly pleased about it.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes the Prism Shard can lead to some very weird and tricky chain of key items that we really don't want to go for. And there's also the situation that the check itself doesn't reward much in terms of experience points because you don't fight stronger enemies at all. Prism Shard, if they happen to do that quest, it's only a few very early game monsters that we fight and then a boss fight.
There are a couple decent chests in the basement of Guardia Castle. That's the main good thing about the Prism Shard quest.
Indeed. So we see here runnings like doing some initial fights. The idea is to unlock the very first 2 techs from the characters. We are playing with the magic locked flag, so which means that the players will have to go to the end of time to unlock magic, or else the vanilla characters that require unlocking magic, which is Chrono, Frog, Luca, and Mar, they are going to be limited to their first 3 techs.
Indeed. And I did see up on Lyra's screen that Frog has learned Water too, and that is great because especially when you're limited to your first 3 techs with characters like these, you want a screen wipe. Water 2 is beautiful. That will take care of that Naga Et fight and everything else in Cathedral. That'll get you through Hecarim Cave. That is wonderful to have up front.
It is wonderful indeed, and we can also see that Chrono learned Lightning 2, which is another screen clear, just like Water 2, so they're all set up for the initial game.
That is great, and Azure Kale has just cleared that Naga Et fight, so we're gonna see who the 3rd character is on his screen right up here. And it's Ayla.
Ayla is a really strong character for in Jets of Time, so hopefully if she is going to learn like some very powerful attacks such as Rock Throw, Triple Kick, it's going to be a great addition to the team.
Indeed. That's not a bad team either. Currently in our meta, Frog is not considered the most desirable character, but I would say that there is no character that is considered completely useless. Everybody definitely has situations. Frog and Ayla are a good team because they have the double tech drop kick, which is a very nice single target physical attack.
Indeed, and we really want some very powerful single target attacks, and dropkick is amazing. Also, this team right there, it has access to a triple attack called 3D attack, and it's based off Ayla's triple kick, and it's a very powerful triple attack.
It is indeed. It's basically X strike, but with a Z axis added, which is Ayla. And
indeed.
We've got a buffed X strike flag in Jets of Time too. So that Chrono and Frog have a double tech that doesn't require either of their middling magic stat. And the buffed X Strike is really nice, and that goes into 3D attack as well.
Yeah, maybe if they keep this team to the end, we might be seeing some use of that triple attack. Let's see.
Yes.
So we can see that Azurkale is leaving Cathedral. So what is he doing right now? He decided that he doesn't want to take the time to finish that dungeon to unlock an extra character, because maybe he is satisfied with his party so far, and is trying to save time by not finishing Cathedral, because it might not be required, but it might be required. So
Indeed.
can you tell us why it might be required, Betsy?
Absolutely. It might be required both because, as we talked about earlier, something required could be hidden behind the Prism Shard, and you would need to pick up Marl for that. Something could also be hidden behind Sunken Desert, which requires Robo, and we haven't seen Robo yet.
That's true. That is the situations that they have to consider by skipping. We say like they are skipping Cathedral, and maybe this is going to pay off, maybe not. Maybe they have to return during the mid game. Let's see. Let's keep on going. And Sanfon Jester decided to continue with Cathedral, so let's see. We're going to see what is the character behind it soon enough. And our very first randomized boss will be coming up really soon.
Indeed. That'll be exciting to see.
So I guess we can talk about go modes, right? Meanwhile, we do their initial... Let's do that?
Sure. Do you want to talk about the 3 go modes?
Yeah, so there's 3 possible go modes. The one that you end up doing Magus Castle. There's another one that you end up doing the Tyranno Lair, Ocean Palace, Lavos route. And there's the third one that's going to lead to you to the Black Omen, and you fight Zeal2 by the end.
Yes.
Can you tell us what are the required items and characters for the Magus Castle go mode?
Yes, so the Magus' Castle Go mode requires you to collect the 2 broken pieces of the Masamune sword, take them to Melchior to be repaired, and then you need to recruit Frog, wherever he is, and take him to the Magic Cave. He will open up the Magic Cave, and you can go through to Magus' Castle. The other 2 Go mode combinations are, the first is Tyranno Lair, so you need the gate key to get access to prehistory. You need the Dreamstone, which in vanilla is used to repair the sword. In Jets of Time, the Dreamstone is used to unlock the Tyranno Lair. And you will need the Ruby Knife to open up the sealed door at Zeal Palace to attack the Mammon Machine.
Yeah. And finally, yeah.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to complement with the final, the Black Omen route that is required. We have the required pendant, which unlocks the future in Jets of Time, and the Chrono Trigger key item and the clone. So as in vanilla, with the Chrono Trigger and the clone, you can head up to the Death Peak, and you unlock the Black Omen by finishing the Death Peak sequence, and then you fight Zeal2 by the end, and the game is ended.
Yes.
The game ends.
Were you to have to fight through Zeal2 and Lavos, it would take far too long. So Queen Zeal is actually the final boss in the Black Omen route. And we're seeing with the Super Slash is the boss at the back of the cathedral.
Yeah, Super Slash is an interesting site here because there are some peculiarities with Super Slash, that he is vulnerable to status effects. So if you have like Hypno Wave, Provoke, or something that can do like a status effect, he is actually vulnerable to that. So that's a strategy.
Yes, that is true. Super Slash, unlike normal Flavor Slash, is vulnerable to a lot more things. Normal Slash, for example, is completely immune to water, and I think takes 50% damage from all the other elements. Super Slash has no such defenses. So he's easier than regular Slash. He still does hit kind of hard. So you have to watch out for those counterattacks.
Yeah, those counterattacks are really terrible sometimes, and they may wipe you because they will counterattack and then follow up with another attack. And that's tricky when you fight Slash or Super Slash by the end of the run.
Yes, indeed. Actually, the Cathedral boss slot is usually pretty easy. Slash is actually, in my opinion, one of the nastier bosses you can fight there, in part because of his counterattacks.
We might be seeing some very nasty bosses, such as the Mutants that you have to fight with magic. And their magic situation is, I mean, lightning to
Ooh,
Luca.
Luca. So here's everybody's favorite character in the back of the castle, as we can see on Saint Vaughn's Jester's screen. Luca is pretty much agreed upon to be the best mage in the game. Magus is pretty good, but I think his lack of synergy with other characters, i.e. he doesn't have double text, is kind of what hurts him in the end.
Yeah, so right now we do know Luca is behind the cathedral, and she has access to Mega Bomb and Napalm, and that's good. That's quite good. It's not fire to flare level, but it's quite good to carry on the initial chat in the game. It is going to be quite hard if they don't get the item that enables them to unlock magic, which is the gate key. And that's what they might be looking for now, isn't it?
Absolutely. There is one other way to unlock magic, but it's a bit out of the way because you have to go to the future via the pendant, and then you need to clear the factory. And the thing about the factory is all it does is give you end of time access. It doesn't give you any key items, which isn't to say it's without merit. Clearing the factory, because it gives you end of time, does let you visit Specchio, and if you're really desperate to crank up your damage output, that could be a really good call. And it also gives you access to Mount Woe in 12,000 BC.
We have just seen the reward from the Xenobridge check, which is a sword piece. A sword piece. So we can see that Saint Vaughn's is actually taking on, and he decided to do and finish this quest, because there is a possibility that you can just reset out of it and then do it later if you want, but he has decided to commit with this key item. Maybe he wants to do biggest castle if available?
That's true. He knows he has frogs, so I suppose he does know he has another piece of that go mode already. So that might be something. But it's true. Sometimes the decision whether to reset out of Xenon Bridge can be a tricky one. The drops from these Aussie fights can be pretty good. So people like that. But, you know, when it's a go mode item, it's a tough decision because you don't necessarily know if you're gonna need that particular go mode item. Nice. A Vedic Blade drop for Chrono. That's not a bad sword at all. And he got the menu glitch. That's the hardest menu glitch in this game. There are a couple of opportunities in Chrono Trigger where the game will drop a battle flag for just a sec and maybe not bring up a cutscene flag, and if you sneak in an X button, you can bring up your menu, and that is a key strategy when fighting Lavos in this randomizer, actually.
We are seeing a normal slash in Hecarim's spot, and Azurke is like having some it's with the frog there. That's quite a hard fight, and he's done.
He's through.
Congrats. He's through. Nice. Oof.
Right.
Well, a lot of slash today. Super slash and slash already.
Yep. Well, we know we won't see him again.
There's another, the Vedic Blade. Sometimes that check from Ozzy might drop some really good stuff, and it kind of is good sometimes. Maybe just finish for the loot if you get some really good loot. And we see normal Yakra. That's not going to give Saint Von Jester much trouble.
Yes, and I see that Azure Kale has collected the item from the Hecarim Cave check, but he closed the window so quickly that I couldn't read what it was. So if anyone can help me with that, that would be lovely. I apologize.
It was the pendant, wasn't it?
It must have been the pendant if he is
the
going
pendant,
straight.
Yeah, he's going straight to the future.
The way the pendant is used is you go to Guardia Castle in the present and present it to Pierre, and then they arrest you. But you can use any character to do this, so if you'd like, you can send Magus to prison to finally pay for his crimes 400 years later. You can send Marl to prison for stealing her own jewelry. The possibilities are endless.
For sure, yeah. And the idea here is to choose a character that can do more than 100 damage from a normal attack, for example, because the guards that you're going to face, it's mainly the only enemy that you're going to fight until you face the dragon tank, which is not randomized. And that's it. If you do more than 100 damage, that's all fine. You won't have any issues with this sequence.
Mm-hmm.
The Dragon Tank fight isn't very hard Jets of Time, so I don't think 30k will be having any issues with. It's very similar to Vanilla. You can only you can't hit the head with the fire or lightning, so we'll get more details when it comes.
Mm-hmm. And as we can see on Azure Kale's screen, while Chrono can't do the 100 damage to one-shot the guards, he is fast enough to get 2 hits off on them. So if you don't have anyone with a particularly strong weapon, that's another good thing to think about, is the character fast, so that they don't get beat up too hard.
And also Lightning 2 is available, so...
Lyra is named Luca trash, and Luca's my favorite character, so I'm ignoring Lyra now. No, I'm joking, but that feels
No.
that feels a bit unkind.
I think we might do a popularity contest. Who is the most beloved character in Jets of Time? We'll look at top 2.
I mean, in terms of her utility, I think Luca is absolutely the most beloved character in Jets of Time.
Yeah.
I think people's favorite character from Chrono Trigger varies about as much as you'd think it would. Luca is my favorite character, though. I wanted to be her when I grew up.
Oh, we see Azure Kale. He just he finished off the for a moment. He finished off freeing Fritz.
Yes.
And what will this give him later? What is the reward that we get from when we free Fritz from the prison?
When you free Fritz from prison and bring Chrono, it has to be Chrono, bring Chrono to his shop, he will give you 10 free mid-ethers, and that is lovely, as they are much more expensive in shops than regular ethers for one, and they heal you for 30 MP instead of 10, and that can be really valuable in fights, especially in this randomizer when those spells that cost 20 MP can come up quite quickly, and you need to be able to cast them a lot.
And Lira is trading the Naga at Bromide to get a reward, which is 1 out of each tab. So 1 speed tab, 1 magic tab, and 1 power tab. Trading the Bromide, the Naga at Bromide is really good because the power tab, all the tabs are really good, especially speed tabs. They are really important because they make you fast enough so you can act faster and avoid boss troubles.
Yes, indeed. Speed tabs are definitely the most valuable tab. Speed and the turn economy in this game are king. The other tabs are actually randomized as well. Speed tabs aren't randomized because at a power of 1, they are plenty valuable already. Magic tabs can give you between 1 and 3 magic power to your stat, and power tabs give you between 2 and 4. And that's actually just in the official flags. If you want to play with it, you could turn them up all the way to 9, I think, on certain sliders.
Yeah, you can. We used to have power tabs going up to plus 7, but that was way too strong, and we had a lot of characters with star power, like 2 or 3 of them, and we decided to go back from that.
Mm-hmm.
A Dragon Tank fight, I mean, it's only you have to focus on taking down the tank head first. So water 2 will do damage to the head because it's water. Lightning 2 will not. And cat attack here as a physical attack is a really good option for fighting the head.
Yes, indeed. Dragon Tank in Jets of Time is very rarely dangerous, but it can be really slow, and I think that's the main thing to consider before going to the future, is if you think Dragon Tank will really slow you down, maybe
Yeah, exactly.
you want to, power
Because
up a little more, but...
the tank head has the ability to heal all the dragon tank parts, so that's why you might go to defeat the head before all the other parts. If you can't do damage enough to output damage enough, so the head will keep healing and the fight will take a lot of time. We can see Lara going up Genodom Mountains. Genodom Mountains is another key item location. There's another check here, and by defeating what would be Mass and Yun boss at the top, you get a reward, a key item as a reward.
Yes. And actually, the fight with the twin form of Masa and Mune, that's another boss that isn't randomized. So the twins will always be at the top of the mountain. What they merge into varies.
See, as Rikeo finishing off the prison sequence, he's going to enter the future. So what do we have in the future as a reward for like finishing all this sequence of the prison quest? What do we have, Betsy, there?
We have all kinds of stuff in the future, actually. First of all, there are 3 key item checks. That's RS Dome, Genodome, and Sun Palace. There are several sealed doors. One that you see behind Chrono here that I'm sure Azure Kale is going to go into. So in Jets of Time, by standard rules, the pendant will actually charge right when you reach the future for the first time. So now all of the sealed chests and doors could be opened. So there's tons of treasure. There's a door like that in Aris Dome as well with lots of good loot. There's this guy's shop if you're desperate for that too. And there's also a character in Protodome. So we'll see if Azure Kale is happy with his party or wants to go check out who's waiting there.
That is a really good question. I'm like quite curious to see the answer really soon. So the character here is like you head into Protodome, you just finish off a very simple fight with an AoE or something, and you have access to another character. So it doesn't require like several minutes as finishing Cathedral would. And also the loot here is really good. And by having the pendant unlocking all the sealed chests, you can actually go back to 600 to 1000 AG to get a lot of sealed chests for really good loot. So let's see if they will do that. So there's a Rikeo checking for his Protodome character. Same Von Jester. Starting the prison sequence.
Sending Ayla to prison. Probably for, I don't know, public unruly behavior.
Oh, no, what? I think Azurike was like, I don't want mod, but
yeah,
Prism Shard is available.
Indeed. I think Azure Kale saw Marl and was not thrilled to see Marl.
No.
Because with the Prism Shard in play, oftentimes, at this point, a lot of us will feel like, okay, the seed is definitely telling me I should do the Prism Shard. Okay, fine.
I think it was like, it was not necessary to show that Marl is not a very popular character, but...
It's true. She isn't a very popular character in Jets of Time, and I think there are a couple reasons for that. One is that her tech list isn't always very good. You know, you want her to have haste, you want her to have life 2, maybe. You definitely want her to have ice 2, And Cure 2 in Jets of Time, for both Marl and Frog, has a status ailment healing effect added to it. So Cure 2 can actually get you out of a lot of trouble. And those are the main things. If Marl doesn't have the right techs, she is almost useless. And
Yeah.
I'm trying not to bag on her too much, because on the other hand, Antipode 3 is amazing. That is one of your best full screen damage spells that you'll see if you pair her with Luca.
Exactly. I think
But
Molly is a really powerful character if you can do the synergy that she enables you to with
yes.
haste and the dual attacks. There are a lot of good options around.
Yeah, it's true. I think, and I think most people agree that Marl has worse synergy with the rest of the party than many of the characters,
Mm-hmm.
unlike, say, Luca, who basically pairs well with anyone.
So Azurkale went and talked. He talked to the king to
Mhm.
set up the Prism Shard quest. So what he can do right now is head into 1000 AD and then finish off the prison sequence with Maul in the party. But
Mhm.
he decided to go with the sword piece. Okay,
Yeah.
let's go.
It's like SVJ saved Fritz as well. You know, you get free items when you save Fritz, but let's all be real, it's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
I see there's a little bit of talk of haste in the chat room. So yes, haste is good for the extra speed. The only thing is you have to be careful when you're using it, because some of the battles will go by pretty quickly. So you don't necessarily want to waste a lot of time watching the haste animation.
Yeah, there's the down
So,
point of relying on haste, but for the very end game fights, Lavos and
mhm,
ZO2 haste, and it's a huge difference if you can haste all your characters, then you're set up for the rest of the fight. That's one of
indeed.
the huge advantages of haste.
Mhm.
I'm wondering why they decided to keep the sword piece. Maybe they're hoping they are. I think they are accepting the fact that if they find the other sword piece, they are heading into Magus Castle right away. It is a possibility.
Mhm. Yeah, that's my thinking. It you know, when it's an item that you don't necessarily need, like if you're getting Robo's ribbon, which is an equipable accessory in Jets of Time, off of Xenon Bridge, and you don't have Robo, then what do you care? You just reset. When it's a Go mode item, you know where it is, but you still do have to like play that cutscene
Mm-hmm.
again. So I wouldn't be surprised if people are taking that into consideration a little bit. But it can
Also,
be
go
oh,
finish.
Oh, just that it can be a little risky when it's so early that you don't have much of an inclination of what Go mode you will be playing.
Yeah, there are several things to
Mhm.
consider as well. By having both pieces of the sword, you can forge in the Massimian and then head into Frog's Burrow to unlock another character. So if the character in the Frog's Burrow is Robo, for example, then you have another check available to you. That's a possibility that they might be thinking of.
Mhm.
Also, there is a downside of Magus Castle. Although it's the Go mode that requires only 2 key items in the character, it is not that significantly, but it's a longer dungeon to go through than the other Go modes.
It's
So,
definitely the slowest one, even if
yeah.
it's not by that much, 10-15 minutes at the worst, maybe but behind the fastest and not behind the middle one, but it's something you think about in races, of course. So,
But there is the other possibility that if you find that Go mode early on, and if you don't commit to it, maybe it could have been faster if you did. There's the downside of there's the I mean a lot of things
mhm.
to consider.
Yep,
It's not easy to choose.
indeed. Ah, I can see a slightly awkwardly sprited Giga Gaia up on the top of Denodora Mountains.
The new boss random. We have to congratulate all the developers for Sildark for developing this great boss randomizer in Jets of Time, because it is amazing the possibilities of so many bosses being randomized through a lot of checks. It's incredible. So kudos.
Absolutely, it's fantastic. In the old boss randomizer, mm?
A reset from Lyra.
Oh, we see a reset. Yeah. Yeah, so she has reset and I guess has decided to run away.
Oh.
But yeah, the bosses are scaled, as just came up in chat, to the area they're in. Genodoro Mountains isn't a super, it's not a super buff spot in terms of how hard the boss can hit you. But Masa and Mune's original hit points are 3,600, which is quite high for that point in the game in vanilla. So
Exactly.
it tends to be pretty beefy.
Yeah, so the Denadoro mountain check, although it's one of the earliest ones that you can have access to, it's quite the hardest of them all because of the amount of HP the boss has, as Betsy said. And we see Azurkeo going through the Prism Shard quest right now. And he has to keep Molly in the party for that. So let's see if at least she has something to offer for the boss fight or some synergy with Chrono and Aylan.
Yep. Indeed. And Denadoro is actually, if you can see, Lyra running down the mountain. Denadoro is one of the dungeons that is the reason why people will suggest making staggered save files, because this one in particular is very difficult to run out of.
Exactly, that is a really good point. For some dungeons, you might have like a backup save before entering in another save after the before the boss, so you have the option to go back faster. We usually don't want to go back from dungeons, but sometimes we never know. We might face a boss and it's really hard for that spot.
Yep, it can happen. Oh, see, Rainbow Helm, full tonic. Not bad treasure in the basement so far in Guardia Castle. Rainbow Helms are very nice.
There is another option for Zerkeo, considering this possibility of saving before. If he's not satisfied with the drops, he is going to see the key item here and could just reset out of that. But I don't think he'll reset out of an amulet.
Yeah, that amulet, there was a red mail too. Not bad. A Thomas Pop. Thomas Pop opens up the Giant's Claw dungeon.
By opening up the Giant's Claw, that will grant the runner another key item by finishing up Giant's Claw. And several power tabs from Giant's Claw. So there's 3 power tabs available there.
Yep. Thank you, SpeedGaming Channel 4, for the raid.
Welcome, raiders.
Yes. Lyra has headed into the desert, possibly to raid it. Robo is required to complete it for the key item.
And we don't know where Robo is. I think she is trying to get some power leveling, maybe using Water 2 to kill all the enemies and get some levels before trying Denador Mountains again.
Yeah, that could be. The Sunken Desert, everything in it is severely weak to water, and it's actually pretty dangerous otherwise, but if you can do exactly what Lyra's doing, it's very safe and not a bad early grind location at all. Meanwhile, SVJ has jumped into the factory because I'm guessing he doesn't want to play around waiting for the gate key anymore. I'm guessing he wants magic. And the thing about the factory is those little chemicals will wipe the floor with you, unless you've got something like full screen light damage, and wonderfully, Chrono's got lightning too. And that makes a huge difference as to whether the factory can be worth it or not, in my opinion.
And we see another randomized boss. It's Dalton Plus. Well, Dalton Plus, really menacing boss.
He's everyone's favorite. We're all terrified of Dalton Plus. Dalton Plus will counterattack everything you do to him. Literally every attack gets a counterattack. Physical with physical. His physical attack is Iron Orb. And elements he will counterattack with their opposing element, except interestingly for lightning, which also gets a counterattack of Iron Orb. And we've talked about that a little bit, and we suspect it's probably because when you fight Dalton Plus in vanilla, you don't have Chrono at all.
Supposed to have
And
lightning, right?
so if you had any lightning, it would be Shock on Robo, and that's sort of a smallish chance, I guess, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, so there is the way to go for that fight. There are a lot of possibilities. If you have the opposite element armor to protect you, to absorb the damage from the counter attack, that's a possibility. But if you don't have three, like blue mails or something, you can just keep going with physical attacks. So it will counter even the iron orb. That's not going to kill your character. You just have to heal.
Yep. Another strategy is if you've got Luca, Protect is absolutely viable to protect you from Dalton's worst attacks, which are not the counterattacks, but that.
That yellow attack is
that one right there.
very threatening. It will one-shot most characters. So if you have shield, if you have protect from Luca, as Betsy said, it's a great way to protect your characters.
Yep, use them. And I would say the last decent-ish strategy is to be ready to take a counterattack, and if you can't absorb it with armor, if you have a character like Frog or Robo that can do a full party heal, just follow up with one of those, and as long as you keep your HP up, you should be okay at least until he starts breaking up the really awful stuff.
Exactly. And we see Flip plus Lyra has decided to try the randomized boss in the desert, but we see this there, which is one of his worst counters because it can like party wipe.
The stare is a full party physical counterattack, and it hurts. It's awful.
It hurts a lot. The way to go around it is like if you have a character that's dead, so he will not counterattack with these there if one of your characters is dead. So that's the way to go, like to avoid a party wipe.
Yep. All right, Dalton is down. Nice job.
Dalton is down. Let's see what is the routing that Zurich is going to do now. The key item reward from the Prism Shard quest was Thomas Pop, and maybe he will follow that route, or he will go back to the future and do the checks there. Yeah, there is a possibility of having a Tropos XR. We might be seeing her as a boss here.
Yes. Yes, that has been asked in chat. Atropos is not in standard Jets of Time. There are a couple bosses that have been removed to make some checks a little more bearable, but she is in the random boss rotation, so we could absolutely see her today. And SVJ is done with the R series and headed back to Protodome to jump in the gate to End of Time.
Indeed. Meanwhile, we haven't seen Azurkeo doing the factory, so has to unlock magic yet. He has yet to unlock magic. Let's see. Maybe he's hoping for the gate key, but the gate key might be somewhere buried down.
You never know.
Ooh, Mega Elixir! So those are the extra sealed chests that you can open after you finish the prison sequence. And there are a lot of sealed chests available, and some of those are really fast to go and grab. The items that are rewarded from the sealed chest, they vary a lot, so you can get something like a Prism Specs or you can get a wallet.
Yeah, they have a fairly wide range of so the items in Jets of Time are all separated into like tiers of treasure based on how good they are in the meta, and I think most of the sealed chests they can cover like the top 3 tiers out of 6 or something like that. So you can get really good stuff, but you can get like stuff too.
Yeah, for example, the blue pyramid there, it's a possibility to get 2 randomized items from the seal chest. So it takes some time. You have to consider if you want to spend time going for the extra seal chests, but they might pay off. So we see Lyra doing just that.
Going for the pyramid.
Yes. No.
Or just no, just that one chest.
Okay, good.
And now heading into Hecarim Cave, and SVJ is heading into Sun Palace, looks like, which is just going to be a single randomized boss. However, I believe this is the strongest boss slot outside of Go
In
mode in New Boss
Indeed,
Rando.
indeed, it is because it's such an easy dungeon to reach the boss because you just have to walk and there's the boss fight.
Yep.
The scaling here is higher, so you have to be prepared. It is not a very easy fight. We are seeing the Guardian. It's the Guardian.
Yes.
As a
Normally the boss
randomized boss.
of Aristom. Actually, I think it was mentioned in the chat earlier, but the Guardian's normal sprite, the pieces of the sprite are part of the room it's in. So to move Guardian around, the main body has been turned into a new.
And we see Samson Jester taking advantage of black vests and black mails because he's absorbing all the shadow-based counterattacks. But the downside is that there's a lot of animation going on, so there's also that to consider.
Yeah, SVJ is using a really, really safe strategy here, but it's also a fairly slow strategy.
As we can see, Azurkeo has already is already fighting only Guardian.
Yeah, the bits need to be taken out to stop the counterattacks. And then Guardian itself, once the bits are gone, does have a slightly different AI than in vanilla, which isn't to say there's a whole lot, but it does a couple of attacks before it brings the bits back.
Yeah, it should start with a AoE shadow-based attack and then follow up with a fire one. So if you have some kind of protection, fire or shadow, it should be good. You don't have to worry too much about it.
Indeed. The other thing to note is that the Guardian itself is immune to fire. Just one of those bosses in the game where they're like, well, since you're required to have Luca, we're going to make sure you can't use her to her full ability.
Exactly.
But the bits can be hurt by fire, so if your only screen wipe is Fire 2 or Flare, you're good. You should be able to kill the bits with that and not take the counterattack.
The gate key!
Is that the gate key? He keeps
Yes.
closing the windows so fast I can't read them.
As we can see how the different strategy for the Guardian fight is paying off for Zerkale because he's already finished with the fight. Meanwhile, Sinful Jester taking some counterattacks. It is safe, but it's going slower in that sense. But he won.
Alright, so what the gate key does specifically is, as you can see, it opens this closet at the nice imp's house in Medina. And he's gonna go to the end of time and probably go talk to Specchio and unlock magic after it drops him in prehistory, of course.
That is the preferable way to unlock magic in Jets of Time because you unlock another era, which is prehistory, and it also will grant you access to 2 more places, which is the Dactyl Nest for another character and the Reptite Lair for another key item.
Yes, and Reptite Lair is a really nice check because honestly, it's pretty quick and it's not super hard given where it is.
And there's also the possibility of getting a secret tunnel dig, isn't it?
Yes.
Right?
Yes, the insects at the top layer of Reptite Lair might dig a secret tunnel if you're singing the song from Avatar, so do we. And those secret tunnels can have some really, really good treasure in them.
And they can make a huge difference for you in the seed if the other runners don't get the dig. It's a significant difference if you get a really good item out of the dig. Azurkale has just finished thinking magic and running around and has unlocked magic for all his characters, so they can learn their fourth and on in the
Yes.
tech list.
And at this point, while I'm sure Azure has been playing long enough that all his starting characters have their first 3 techs, if you have characters that don't have their first 3 techs and bring them to Specchio to learn magic, he will fill in those first 3 techs for you. It's very nice.
It is. It's an awesome strategy to go, for example, if you find the gate key like your first or second key item, you just go there and unlock all your first 3 techs. It's amazing.
Absolutely. Red
Sentinel
Knight.
Zephyr heading into Arisdom and fighting Red Knight.
So Red Knight, first of all, Red Knight needs to be damaged with physical damage, or at least non-elemental damage. I think Tailspin that he's used with Ayla is going to work. The other thing is, water will drop its defense and evasion. So the water 2 at the beginning, though it did 0 damage, has lowered its defense and is helping characters not miss, which can be very frustrating if you end up having to fight Red Knight without water magic.
Exactly, and you have to keep paying attention to the center, because if he absorbs a lot of energy from the center and it dies, he's going to lower his defense again, and maybe you can't even finish the fight.
Yeah, he starts going berserk if the center dies too early. Azure Kale up here is at Dactyl Nest, and he's going to be attempting one of the very difficult skips if you're on the very exact right pixel, which I think, nope. I think he was before or something.
One off, yeah.
Yeah.
Just one. Yeah, it's a very tight, extremely tight skip because it's only one pixel that you're allowed to go up against, and it's very tight to set it up.
Yep, actually the next skip is the exact same. It's a 1 pixel window, so we'll see if he gets that one as well.
Yeah, that's why he was using a pause buffer, like pausing and trying to go and counting the amount of pixels. Yeah, nice.
There it is. And that's exactly how the other one works too, just sometimes you get one and not the other. There's
Robo. Azurkale now with the possibility of going back to 600 and finishing off the Sunken Desert dungeon, which will give him another key item because now he has access to Robo, so he can talk to Fiona and finish the quest.
Indeed. SVJ finishing off Red Knight's core. Looks like he has killed it.
We have a question in chat. I think Bessie would like to respond to that.
Is Robo good? Robo is amazing. He is our robot friend from the future who will never give us up or let us down. But seriously, opinion on Robo is a little bit divided. I think Robo is a very good character. His main weakness is his speed, because Robo starts pretty slow. His speed starts at 8, which is up 2 from vanilla, actually, where he starts at 6. But his physical attack is pretty good. His magic stat isn't great, but there are magic tabs for that, and he probably has the most diverse tech list out of all of the characters. Robo can do just about everything.
Exactly. Robo is a really versatile character. He can heal your party. He can do very strong physical attack with a UV punch. He can do some really good dual attack, for example, with Ayla, Beastos, Boogie, Fire attack with Luca, Super Volt with Chrono. The list goes on. It's a really good and versatile character in Jets of Time.
Okay, Magus is in the burrow, looks like.
And there's also the key item, which is the Robo's Ribbon. If you remember from Vanilla, Robo's Ribbon, it's a gift from Atropos. It will give Robo +3 speed, the effects of Sunshades, and Auto Barrier. And that's a really powerful accessory for Robo if you want to keep him in the party.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things you can get from a key item check where, well, you might be disappointed because it's not progress, but it is a very nice accessory. So if you're using Robo, you gotta use that ribbon. It's very helpful.
Indeed. And it usually takes solve the speed problem from Robo.
Hmm.
We can see Azurkeo now in prehistory. He's using the free
Yes, the Sweetwater.
the sweet water to instead of using a shelter,
Mhm.
and he's heading into the reptile lair. Check. Meanwhile, Sam Jester getting a clone out
A
of Earthbound.
clone. All right,
Wow.
there's a go mode item. I haven't seen too many of those yet.
He is just a
Oh,
Chrono Trigger away from a Black Omen Go mode.
okay. Azure's got a dig. I don't know if that's the secret tunnel or not.
I
Looks
don't
like
think it is.
no.
The top left part of that dungeon will not lead to a secret
Yeah,
area.
yes.
It's kind of a weird like placement of when you're getting, when you're not, and they can like dig randomly. So usually the lower right portion and some part of the top right and the lower bottom left will lead to, but it's not very linear.
Yeah. And some of the digs you can get have extra digs in there that you can also get, which I think in vanilla that eventually leads you to a mega elixir. In Jets it would be as random as
Wow.
everybody else, so we don't see that particular dig as often. Oh, St. Von Jester just got a Prism Specs out of the sealed chest in Guardia Forest.
Ooh,
That is
wow.
lovely. For anyone who doesn't know, Prism Specs raise
Wow.
the damage dealt by the character wearing them by 50%. All damage.
See, that's why it is interesting to spend some time going for the
Mhm.
seal chest. It's like, even if it takes a couple of minutes, you're getting very rewarded when you do.
Mhm.
Yeah, so the reptile layer check is really fast. You do have access to a few chests. Okay,
Nice,
nice.
nice job. Sneaking back there, getting that one.
It's very tight. Ooh. Okay, good skips. And Sylvan Jester going for some more sealed chests. There is one in Truth In. There is a
Megaton
Megaton arm.
arm.
Even if you don't get an item that you really want, you can actually just sell all of those rewards for money, and then you can buy some good loot in the new shop, which is one of the shops that we're going to talk about later.
Yes, there are endgame shops, and we will cover them when we get there. They're fantastic, usually.
Usually.
You're still hurting from this morning.
Yes. So what are the remaining checks that we haven't seen yet? We do have Genodom. What else,
Yeah,
Betsy?
we haven't seen Genodome. We haven't seen Mount Woe. Um, we haven't seen anyone drop off the Moonstone, but I don't think the Moonstone has been
Mm-hmm.
picked up anywhere either.
Thomas Pop as well.
Yeah, Giant's Claw. Um,
Ooh, Mega Elixir for Telephone
ooh,
Chapter. Some great rewards.
yeah.
We see a boss that rolled up vanilla, actually. Interesting enough, Nisbel won. Oh, Nisbel.
Mhm.
He is weak to lightning. If you use lightning, it will set his defense back to normal, so you can follow up with physical attacks. If you have magical attacks, you can use them right away, and it will damage Nisbel as well.
Mhm. Lightning, with Nisbel 1, Lightning will actually shock him out of a couple turns too, which can be helpful. He will then hit you with full party lightning damage after that, so you need to be prepared. But it is nice
Exactly.
to stop those earthquake attacks.
And after he releases the electrical and what was that a reset?
Um,
Someone just
I don't think so. I think he was just switching screens.
okay,
I
okay.
think, yeah. But looking at Denadoro.
Yeah, you have to keep going using lightning again so that you will set his defense back to normal and then following up with physical attacks. And we see rock throw being used. It's a really good MP efficient attack for Ayla.
Yes. Rock throw goes into a lot of nice double techs for Ayla too, so that is a great one for her to learn.
Exactly, we have like Falcon hits, Beast toss. Someone just there climbing Denodor Mountains, which we don't know yet what is the reward from it, do we? Because Lyra had a wipe and reset and ran away.
Well, that might be, yeah, I think maybe
Yeah?
no one else has done it, so maybe we haven't seen Denadoro through all the way either. We do know that Giga Gaia is up at the top.
Oh, true, true. And other chaos, Ayla learned triple kick.
Ooh. Ah, there's the
And
bent
the
sword.
sword piece. Okay, let's go mode for other
Yep,
chaos. I mean,
that is go mode.
oof, is he going to just go?
Yeah, so we'll see what he does. Most conventional wisdom, I think, suggests that typically you should take the first go mode the game throws at you. Some people aren't thrilled with Magus' Castle go mode because it takes the longest. But I think in terms of if you're deciding whether you want to do more checks or not, you need to think about how many checks are out there. We
Mm-hmm.
see here Azure Kale is putting the sword back together. I think that going straight for go mode is probably his best play because he's got several checks left and
Mm-hmm.
he's probably not going to get one of the other go modes in one or two quick checks at this point.
Exactly. I don't think he has done Arizona, has he? Does he have the
Um,
clone?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. So maybe if you are one item away for a go mode and you get Vegas Castle go mode, if you have a one or two very quick dungeon to check, such as the desert or Sun Palace, maybe it's a possibility to go like, okay, I'm going to try one or two fast checks and go from there. It's a reward, experience, and if you get a faster go mode, you might as well and faster, but if
Mhm.
you don't, well, you
Yep,
know what it is.
that can be difficult.
And I don't know if you agree, we are reaching like the 1 hour mark, and that's about the time when going through Mega's Castle is like, okay, it's going to take more, but it might pay off, isn't it?
I would agree with that, yeah. And the 1 hour point in a run is often when people start thinking about having go mode and thinking they should have it. So, anyone who doesn't may start to feel a little bit behind at this point. And of course,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
even if that is just perception, because some seeds do make you go really deep, but you never know if you're missing the obvious thing.
Yeah, because you're always like missing a check or two somewhere, and you're thinking like maybe the other runners like, oh, maybe they already have go mode, and I don't.
Mhm.
And you never know. Maybe it's a very linear seed, and all things can happen.
Yep. We have an apology in chat. Moon Blizzard and I were both practicing for a different marathon this morning, and we were rolled a seed that required us to go through the factory to get the gate key. But what I'll say is we forgive you because we had lightning too.
Exactly. That was not a very long factory, at least. We
Yeah.
see also Lyra getting the Prism specs out of the
Mhm.
field chest. So that's going to be a huge advantage for the end game fights. The Prism Specs is one of the one of the better items that you want for your end game. The list is long, but the Prism Specs is special.
Indeed, they are one of the best things you can find. All right, and here comes Giga Gaia for SVJ. Giga Gaia's deal, of course, is it's the closest thing maybe Chrono Trigger has to the quote-unquote Andros boss, as we like to call them, where the best strategy is to take out the hands so they stop smacking you around so much, and then you can focus all of your power on the head, which doesn't do a whole lot without the hands.
Yeah, so his less Giga Gaia will always like fall do a party-wide AoE elemental attack. The first one is shadow-based, and then he follows up with a fire-based one. And there's a lot of other attacks, such as this water-based. And it's not
Yeah.
an easy boss if you don't have the protection.
Mm-hmm. And there hasn't been a lot of heavy full-screen damage this seed, which is really what you'd want versus Giga Gaia, because a couple of flares or dark matters or whatever, that should clean up the arms, and then you're basically okay.
Exactly. At least the way the hands are positioned, you can do some small area of effects techniques, such as Mega Bomb. Mega Bomb will work, and Ice Sword 2, Fire Sword 2, they will work against Giga Gaia in this randomized spot.
Indeed.
Azurkeo is clearing up fights in the desert, maybe hoping to get some items and levels before attempting Magus Castle.
Yeah. His gear looks alright to me. It's not necessarily awesome, but I think he's probably okay to go to the castle at this point. He may want to just take this check out of the way to see if he can get a faster go mode.
He found Robo was, let me double check.
I think so. Robo was on Dactyl Nest, I believe.
Dactyl Nest. Yeah, going through the character locations again, 2 starting characters, 1 in Cathedral, 1 after you finish the Cathedral, which is in the castle, another in Frogsborough, Dactyl Nest, and Protodome. And San Von Jester finished the Dinodoro. Getting a reward as what was the
It was sadly it was a moonstone.
Oh, moonstone.
The moonstone. Wonder shot.
When you finish the Prism Shard quest, you can go to prehistory, put the moonstone to be charged in the Sun Palace, Sun Key.
Sun Key,
and then you go to the future and get a sunstone out of it, and then you go back and you talk to Melchior, and he will give you another key item.
Yep.
It takes quite a while.
Yeah, it's a lot. Nobody wants the item they need to be that deep. Leaving Robo behind with Fiona.
There are some situations, right, Betsy, when we get our both go modes behind Prism Shard and Moonstone, and that's one of the terrible things we don't want to.
Yes, that has absolutely happened.
To see.
Not too much at the Fiona shop, but that is one of the 2 shops in the game guaranteed to have lapises for sale. The other is Fritz's store, so they're both shops you need to unlock.
Lapis, if you don't have an AoE heal, such as Frog's heal or Robo's heal beam, a Lapis is a really powerful consumable. It will heal all your party 200 HP, and it's really fast as well, as it is a consumable. So it's faster than your usual animation for the healing tag, but it costs quite a lot of money.
Yeah, 10,000 apiece.
You have to think about, If you have the money, like if you want to go and buy a few, that's okay. But usually we really want to keep all of our money for the famous new shop by the end, because there's where the good loot is.
That is true. Azure Kale's picking up those free mid-ethers. And there's mid-ethers for sale there too. Couple weapons.
So considering the situation we have right now, Betsy, what do you think they are going to approach right now?
Well, I think Azure looks like he's getting ready to jump into go mode, but he looks like he wants to be very prepared first. The other two, well, since Saint Von Jester has prehistory, I'm sure he's gonna do Reptite Lair, and that's where that other piece of the sword was. So it's a matter of the gate key is on some palace, right?
The gate key, yes.
Yeah, for Lyra, I think it'll be a matter of being comfortable with the level of that check.
Yeah, I agree. I do think maybe Sam Von Jester with by having the other required item for Black Human Go mode. I don't know if he will commit to Magus Castle right away.
Yeah,
maybe we'll see about it.
And Azure Kale did pet the validation cat when he slept at Chrono's house just now. We like to say that that validates your run.
Let's see. We are hearing beloved Frog team and watching this amazing cutscene. Yeah, so Azure Kale is starting his Go Mode Magus Castle dungeon at 1 hour 9 minutes in. That is a good time to.
Yeah.
Not bad. If Sam Von Jester decides to do some extra checks, hoping for the remaining key item for Black Human Go mode, let's see if that's going to pay off for him.
Yeah, if he can find something quickly, it might. But at this point, the clock is ticking, so it does have to happen pretty fast.
Exactly.
SVJ is trying to get a dig. I don't know if there's any particular art to manipulating the bugs or not. I personally just run in for like a couple seconds and then I run out. Like I try to pause a little bit before I run back out the door in case one starts digging and I'm already like in the doorway and I missed it.
Yeah, I don't think you can like trick them into digging anyway. Just have to pay attention. If you hear anything, stop, because sometimes we go like automatically entering and exiting the room, and it's like we hear something. Oh no! I just ran out of the dungeon.
Yep.
And then you miss it. Let's see where it is going to head right now. So, Magus Castle. Shall we talk about Magus Castle? How this dungeon is laid out?
Let's do that. So this first part, there are two sides, left and right, which we've already seen Azure Kale explore, and after this fight, he's gonna have to revisit either side, where he's gonna meet the bosses that are taking the place of Slash and Flea, Magus's two generals, and then after that, we're gonna come through the middle. You want to talk about the rest of the castle?
Yeah, so after you finish those initial boss fights, there's going to be a very long hallway that you can fight the encounters there, or you can run away. And then there's the Aussie sequence that you have to escape the guillotine. And Then there's the place that you have to walk very carefully so that you don't stumble upon a fake tile or something that you go down. If you want to go down to get some extra loot, that's awesome. There are a lot of chests there and a magic tab. But if you want to go fast enough, there is a specific path that you have to follow in that scene to avoid going down. Saves you time.
Indeed.
And
Oh,
then the final Aussie Fight,
is
which
that
is not randomized.
is that Mega
It-
Mutant or Terra Mutant?
I think it's there, isn't it?
Ugh,
It's like brownish,
I know I
maybe.
keep saying this, but I need glasses, so I'm having trouble telling.
I think it's Terra Mutant based on the color of the sprites.
Yeah.
So Terra Mutant, let's talk about Terra Mutant. What's the big thing about Terra
Ah,
Mutant?
well, Terra Mutant. So there are three mutants in Chrono Trigger. Well, of this particular boss chain, all of which are called mutants. They normally appear in the Black Omen dungeon. First, you'll fight Mega Mutant, then you'll fight Giga Mutant, and then you'll fight Terra Mutant. Obviously, that follows. Terra Mutant is the strongest of the three. So while the others have somewhat simpler tactics that you would employ against them, although they're still kind of annoying, Terra Mutant, first of all, you must do magical damage to it. Physical damage won't do jack. Second of all, the bottom of Terra Mutant absorbs literally everything. The other mutants, you have to kill the bottom. But on Terra Mutant, the bottom absorbs everything, and then the top will suck health out of the bottom repeatedly to keep itself alive. So the thing about Terra Mutant is, A, you need that magic damage, and B, you need to be able to deal it quickly enough that it can't heal itself.
Exactly. And as the Terra Mutants AI, it's fairly predictable. Here we'll start with a fire-based AoE attack, so if you have fire protection, make sure to equip those before the fight. Then after healing from the bottom, he will cast Obstacle. So the obstacle here in Jets of Time, it will lead to a random status, and it may be something fairly easy to deal with, or it may be something pretty bad. So you have to
Indeed.
get your status protection on, and then you'll try to follow up with a very powerful single target damage. So someone might die. Usually, someone
Mhm.
dies. And considering this particular party, we don't have available a very strong magical attack. But I think we can agree upon that, right?
Yeah.
But if uh,
This is not a great party for magic. It is a great party for physical, but
oh, the good thing is Chrono just learned Luminaire, so that's
mm,
more
that will absolutely
magical
help. Yes.
firepower for him.
Yes. Looks like SVJ's putting the sword together. He just finished Reptite Lair.
Mm.
And Lyra is actually in a place that's pretty rare to go, which is the right side of the factory. There is there's no reason for progress-wise to come here, but
Hmm.
the treasure is pretty nice. She's been getting, like, I have seen some hyper ethers, some high-tier weapons. There was a ruby armor, so that gear is going to help for sure. It's just whether the time is going to be worth it in the
Yeah,
end.
I think we can just do a commentary that we do have a mode, a game mode, which is we call the Chrono Sanity game mode, that
Yes.
key items are shuffled in all the chests. So doing this is actually a good idea if you are playing Chrono Sanity, right?
That is absolutely true. If you're playing Chrono Sanity, ignore anything I said about, like, you don't need to go there, because if there's a treasure chest, you need to go there.
Yeah, and Chrono Sanity, like you have more than 180 checks to go for. Glad we are not playing Chrono Sanity
There,
today.
there are quite a few. Chrono Sanity can be pretty fun, but it is very fast-paced in terms of, because every chest is a check.
Yeah,
So it's
it would be quite hard for us to follow. And another mutant?
Oh, well, here's
Mega
Mega
Mutants
Mutant.
right now.
So luckily Mega Mutant is the easiest of the three because probably the status effects that it throws out are the worst things that it does. But it's vulnerable to both physical and magic. You do have to kill both parts, but that means, while that sounds worse, it means that the parts aren't doing funny business either, so I think it's better.
No, I definitely agree. Besides obstacle, Mega Mutant is not a very threatening mutant.
Mhm. So they've been inflicted with lock, which means you can't use hex. It's basically silence in most other games.
And Sandstorm Jester starting the Mega's Castle Go Mode sequence
Okay,
with
so
Frog
it's
here in about 1
1
hour 17, which would be
17?
10,
Like 8
8
minutes-ish
minutes. Yeah,
behind, give or take.
8 minutes.
Yeah.
8 minutes is not that much, considering any boss can wipe you and
Yeah, absolutely.
a misclick, something, missing like revives, heals, anything.
Yep. And we'll see. SVJ has... Well, SVJ has Luca, and I think his Luca has Flare now. I think maybe as of the last boss. So if that is true, he might be coming in with a much better equipped party for this particular challenge.
That is true. I mean, we are going to see if the different party is going to make a huge difference. As long as he has access to flare right away, it's going to be. I don't remember seeing flare yet. Have you?
I thought I saw Luca learns Flare pop up from his Reptite Lair fight,
Oh,
so we'll see in a second if I was right.
That's going to make his fight against the mutants much faster.
Absolutely, and a full screen fire wipe. Fire is probably the most valuable element for that, just because more things are vulnerable to it. Just about everything in Magus' castle will go down to a flare, or at least just about every fight that you want to or have to take. There's one that requires water if you want to wipe it. I'll point it out.
In fact, I was going to mention that, yeah.
Yeah.
There's one.
I know, it's just the one.
And you're like, I want to flare all the things, and then why it's doing 0 damage? I want to flare all the things.
Yes. Yep. Azure Kale and one of those forced battle hallways. Luckily, you can run from all of these fights, which is generally recommended. Although some people, myself included, like to take this one that has 6 enemies in it. Just because it has fairly good experience and tech point yields.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we do have to consider that Azure Kale is entering Magus Castle after the 1 hour mark, so every single fight here that he's taking, and if Centron Jester does if he runs away from that, it's saving time. He's saving time. Let's see.
Yep, looks like St. Von Jester might be grinding a little bit. These skeletons in the Omnicron are kind of the preferred grind spot inside the castle.
And there's Flare.
Yep. And look at that damage.
Wow. Just the Omnicron that you have to use.
Yeah, you can see Lyra up in the corner not using lightning to quickly dispatch the chemicals on the floor. Or no, there's the lightning.
Oh, good.
We're gonna see how much better this is after the lightning gets used versus before it went off.
Guaranteed.
Yeah,
Green clear.
that is a huge difference in the factory.
Oh, not that. That's
he
fake
often
style.
Yeah, Azure often takes that one on purpose. There is a save point down here, There's this fight with the 6 skeletons, which I think has decent yields as well. And the treasure's not bad either. There's a magic tab
Yeah.
too.
There's a possibility of getting very good loot here, including Prism Specs, Crisis Arm, and the like.
Yeah, so honestly, falling once, you can make falling once work for you. When you fall like 3 times, that's what it's like, okay, that's too much.
A white mail. White mail is a really good
Mm,
armor for Lava
cool.
Fight, isn't it?
It is.
We're going
That
to
will,
talk more about that
yeah,
when we get to
and
the Lava
poss
Fight.
yeah, possibly the Magus fight. There's actually a quicker way to get across the floor without hitting any of the trick tiles, but
Hmm.
it's a little trickier to see what you're doing. You have to look at the floor pattern pretty closely.
Yeah. Yeah, it was about a 45 seconds investment for going down, so you have to carefully think about 45 seconds is something to consider if they are all close enough.
Oops.
Oh no.
Oh,
If you
sometimes
so
you
Yeah,
go a
let's
little
talk about
too,
how to do here these skips. Like you have to simply
yeah.
stop and wait for the what's the name of that?
So
Rolly to
those are
yeah.
roly bombers, and there are some normal rollies in a previous room too, and dodging them is the same. You need to not be moving when they roll past you.
Yeah. So the downside of getting this fight here is this, because you have to use magic against the juggler, you have to use water or physical attacks against the outlaw, and it's
Mhm.
takes some time.
Indeed. Yeah. The other annoying thing about the rollies that you have to watch out for is, well, you can see the perspective of the room is such that these catwalks are not supposed to be like lined up, but you can still hit your head on the rolly sprite, even though it looks like it should be behind your character. So
Hmm.
you need to be really careful with that. And this fight that Azure is going to fight right now, this is the one that you need water to wipe in one hit.
Yeah, if you use fire here, the outlaws are going to receive 0 damage. There's other K using Falcon Hit. Falcon Hit is a really good
Yeah,
tech to use
actually,
here.
in
It's-
like physical works too. So if you have Falcon Hit, which I think is the only physical attack that will hit the whole screen. In Jets,
Mhm,
it's actually been powered up so it hits more. Um,
mhm. I can only think of Frog Splash actually as another source
that's
of AoE
true.
physical, but
Right.
it's
Frog
very
Splash and
tight to set it up. I mean,
right, Frog Splash and Dino Tail, but since they require the user to have low HP
yeah.
for them to do high damage, they're a lot more dangerous. So yeah, Falcon Hit is kind of your safe option. And the jugglers
There is
here.
a So for example here, Falcon Falcon Hit is going to be of really good use because he's going to follow up Water 2 with Falcon Hit. When you use magic, they set up a magic defense, and you have to use physical attacks then. And
Hmm.
Falcon Hit for the win here.
Yes. I believe the first hit is free, and then they just start switching back and forth.
Mm,
Something like that.
nice. And we see Sandron Jester fighting the mutant. He's not very
Mhm.
far behind, so the initial difference was like 8 minutes. Let's see if that's going to
It has.
shorten.
I think it's been about 8 minutes, yeah. So I think if he hadn't been grinding, he would have just caught up
Mhm.
by quite a few minutes actually. Um,
So, for example, if he decides to not go down the fake tile to get some loot, that's going to put him like 45 seconds ahead,
mhm.
maybe. So there's the Aussie fight on Other KO. How hard is this fight? Let's be serious.
Well, if you don't know how to do it, it's pretty darn hard. No, as many of the audience probably know, the Aussie fights are all puzzle fights, and the trick is not to hit him because his barrier is in fact impenetrable. But you can attack those cranks that he's been abusing you with the whole time you've
And
been in the castle.
yeah, and interesting enough, it's one of the most rewarding boss fights in Vegas Castle because you have like 4 enemies that are dropping 2 items. That's a lapis and an elixir.
Yes. And actually, if Ayla had Charm, she would be able to charm one of them, and Charm would kill it, because you literally only have to hit them once, or attack them once to kill it. It doesn't register the damage, and then you might have more treasure.
Exactly. It's a really good idea to use charm here.
Mm-hmm. You can't always pull it off, but if you can, definitely try it. SVJ is taking some more fights here. I'll have to look at what level he is when he next opens the menu.
So that's level 26 already for Zerkale and 25 for Seven Jester.
Okay.
There are 1 or 2 levels.
Yeah, honestly, SVJ could probably stop grinding.
Oh, yeah.
I do see Luca has Fire 2 coming, and I'm sure he wants that because Fire 2 is used in a lot of important double techs.
And considering the fact that Ayla has a triple kick available, it will unlock Blaze Kick, which is one of the most powerful dual attacks available here.
Mm-hmm.
There's also Fire Sword too with Chrono, and if he has confused. Let's see what is the randomized character we get as Vegas today.
It's Chrono!
Oh no.
Alright, so that white mail that was picked up earlier could be useful, depending. Although, so Magus, well, let's back up. Do you wanna talk about, why don't you tell us about how Magus works in the
Okay, let's do that. Yeah, Magus is a really tricky fight that you have to be very careful with. So ideally, you can start off like using some kind of magical protection in your character, such as a barrier or a magic wall, because when you start attacking Magus, he will always do the barrier change and do AoE magical attacks, which is a random element, and they will hit quite hard if you're not prepared. So you can hit either with physical attacks or with the same element as the barrier. And for example here, Chrono uses lightning, so your Chrono can use Luminaire to do damage. And you go from there. Keep healing, protect yourself against magical attacks. And yeah, Betsy, continue with the what is the second phase, and what else do we have to consider in this fight?
So at half HP, and his HP is randomized even without boss rando on. I think it's something like between 10 and 14,000-ish. So pay attention to the damage you're doing. But so about halfway through, he will stop counterattacking. And actually, probably the first clue you will get that the face has changed is you will do an attack that you expect a counterattack from and not receive one. And at that point, it's interesting, because the barrier is still up, but he will stop counterattacking, so you can just start unloading damage if you need to. And then the second sign he'll give you is it'll say, Magus risks casting a spell, which means he's casting Magic Wall to bring his magic defense up. And after that, he's going to cast his nuke. So if you haven't got him down by the time he uses his nuke, you might be in for a world of pain. It depends on your level in the party. And so the thing is, the nuke, it's dark matter if it's Magus, as in vanilla. Since it's Chrono this time, it's going to be Luminaire. Robo also casts Luminaire because he has Shock. If it's Luca, it would be Flare. Frog and Marl, you'd see Hexagon Mist, and Ayla has a non-elemental spread magic, and that's actually pretty dangerous because you can't sponge it up if you need to. So, honestly, the most ideal strategies for Magus all involve never seeing the nuke.
Exactly, you have to be really fast to avoid.
Yeah. But once you're in phase 2, hopefully, because again, once you're in phase 2, the counterattack slog has stopped. So you just need to unload everything you've got, and hopefully, because you're allowed to do damage a lot faster, he'll go down before you see the dude.
Yeah, that's where we are right now in the Zerkeo's screen. We are seeing Megas with casting a spell, and it might do more than 400 damage, considering that he doesn't have a barrier on, but he does have a character with a white mail. I don't know if the others have a white mail as well, so we'll see how bad it is. Oh, no news.
There you go. That's how it's done.
Congratulations, that was
Good
good.
job, Azure.
Good
All right,
job.
and SVJ is in the winch room now.
Meanwhile, Lyra is heading up. This is Genodom. Genodom is another dungeon for another key item, and it's quite a long dungeon to go for. There's a lot of small steps that you have to go for. You have to grab the dolls, and it's quite tricky. It takes
Yeah.
long. It's a longish dungeon. A lot of threats, harder enemies. But the rewards are really good.
That is true. So we'll see if we see anything good out of here. Like, hopefully it's a go mode item.
Indeed.
All right, and Azure is up the Skyway and heading into Zeal. And I think he's going to come around and check the new shop here.
This is the famous new shop we've been talking
Yes.
about.
So, Elixirs, Full Ethers, Magic Seal, Amulet, Rainbow Helm, Sight Cap, and Shockwave. The one item there that is guaranteed is the Amulet for status protection. You can also get one for free if you recruit Magus.
Yeah. Which, interestingly enough, they did not unlock Magus after forging the messenger. Oh.
That is true.
Hmm.
Yeah, so there's also a shop on the side, and it's a different shop. It's like a mid-level shop. It usually has some decent consumables, so if you need some, that can be worth checking. It doesn't have the really nice stuff like the top one does.
Yeah, as Zerkay is doing right now, this is the time that you go and sell everything that you're not going to need for your final dungeon and final fights. So sell everything you can and try to buy the better consumables such as elixirs, mega elixirs, full tonics. If you have something really good like haste helms, prism specs for sale, what else?
Wonder shots and rainbows
Wonder
and stuff like
shots,
that.
rainbows, all the good stuff. Crisis arms. Just sell everything you're not going to use and buy them all.
Yep.
For example, if you find, for example, haste helms, like if you can gather like 150 gold, I think it's 150,000 gold, you are set up for your endgame.
Yeah, 3 haste helms. That's amazing.
It's quite rare, I admit, but when it shows up, 3 prism packs, all that.
SVJ didn't go around the statues. I think he keeps checking his tech menu. I think it's because he wants the TP. But I don't know how much
Maybe
these
he
little fights are
needs
giving him.
something.
Yeah, he may have decided that wasn't worth it.
Yeah, those fights are not very rewarding. There is this single fight here that's before Ozzy. That's one of the fights you would like to try to grind for if you need tech points. I think it's 24 tech points if I'm not mistaken, and this is the fight that you can go back and forth and redo it.
Yep. It's like Zombor in the Zeal throne room. Zombor the Skeleton is a fairly simple boss in that the top is vulnerable to water and shadow, the bottom is vulnerable to lightning and fire, but this very, very physical team is probably just going to punch him a lot. Which is totally okay too.
It is a good fight for Zerkeo. This god is not very threatening in this spot. As we can see, Zerkeo is indeed grinding using this encounter. Maybe he really wants to learn Fire 2. I think it's Fire 2, right?
It is Fire 2. I think that's what he wants, because I think he wants Blaze Kick. Which is to say, if Magus is nice with his barriers and gives him fire, then yes, he will be super happy to have Blaze Kick. I'm not sure that all the grinding is helping him make up time on Azure Kale, though.
Yeah, let's see when Azure Kale finishes off Zombor. Yep. That's the 1 hour 36:40. I'll note that down so we can check later. Yeah, so there's the idea that maybe I am grinding to get a better tech, so that's going to save me time after. It's a tough decision, isn't it? To go and do some extra fight for a tech that's really powerful.
The question in chat, why does Spin Cut keep missing? Chrono's hit stat leaves a lot to be desired, and trust me, we scream at him a lot when we have him do confuse and he misses like 3 out of 4. Just, you get used to it, but
yeah. There's one thing to mention. The dual attacks, they will not miss, for example, X-Strike. So it's guaranteed that it's going to hit, even if you're fighting, for example, Red Knight with a huge like a brick wall for you to hit him. If you use X-Strike, it's going to hit.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of why dual attacks are really important. They can't miss.
Exactly. Yeah, that is also a thing to consider if you have your Chrono like lower leveled, or if he's missing a lot. Try to party him with someone that's going to get a really good synergy, such as, for example, Falcon Hit, Action Strike. We are playing with the above the Action Strike.
Yes.
Today. Confuse is coming up for Lyra.
Yep. And Azure's hit what we call the grind spot, although since he doesn't have much of a screen wipe as far as I know, he probably won't linger here too long. I mean, Falcon hit will do it, probably, but...
Indeed, Falcon hit is doing more than 900 damage against the mages.
That's funny. Maybe
so this is...
triple kick was a misclick or something.
This spot is one of the fights that you just repeat until you are ready to continue to the rest of the dungeon. What you're aiming here is like level 26, 27, 28, depending on your loot, equipment, tech list, and all.
Yeah, I would say most people will stop at the spot that Azure Kale is at to grind. It is the most efficient grinding spot in the game, I think, with its 2600 EXP and 80 tech points, and repeatable. And most
take
people
a look at
sorry, go ahead.
Take a look at that Gatling kick.
Yeah. Ooh.
Go on, continue.
What was I talking about?
About the grinding spot.
Right, yeah. So most people will stop there to grind if they don't get to the Ocean Palace at their preferred level. You're generally going to gain some levels after that, so knowing what level you leave the grinding spot at is not the level at which you fight Lavos, but I would say most people like to leave it between, I don't know, like 26 and 32 is kind of what I hear. It depends on the player, and it's also one of those things, you know, if you're a new player at Jets of Time, then go ahead and grind for a little longer. If you're not comfortable fighting Lavos, the most important thing is to not die. And so if you need to grind a little more, that's cool. And then when you feel a little more confident, you can start leaving a little bit earlier and a little bit earlier and just kind of ease yourself into it.
Exactly. Yeah, so we see a comment in chat about Black Omen being the best grinding spot. So in this route that Azurkeo is going right now, he's finishing off the Ocean Palace, and it will give him access to levels himself. So after he finishes level, that's the run. He's not going to go through Black Omen.
Indeed. And in vanilla, there are probably some pretty good spots in Omen, and Omen isn't necessarily just a one-time dungeon like Ocean Palace is, where you're really one and done. And in fact, you can do Black Omen 3 times in a vanilla seed if you really, really want to.
So another question in chat is all go mode paths leads to levels. No, there is the one go mode path, which is the having the pendant, the chrono trigger, and the clone. You go as in vanilla, you unlock the death peak, which will grant you access to the black the Black Omen. So after you finish the Black Omen and you fight the ZU2, there is a flag that we usually play in random standard race flags, which is the ZU end, which means that when you finish, when you win against ZU2, that's the run. And you finish, you don't have to fight levels.
Indeed. And it's a bit of a trade-off because I think ZL2 is definitely easier than Lavos. The Mammon machine is somewhat powered up in Jets of Time, and the Black Omen has a rougher boss gauntlet leading up to the final boss than Ocean Palace did, so that's kind of the trade-off.
Yeah. I don't know if we're going to see the ZL. Hopefully we are. Hopefully maybe we can go through that go mode, because it's very interesting to see how the ZL fight is in Jets of Time. It's I am thinking about that. If the ZL2 is easier than Lava, sometimes ZL2 also does ZL2 things.
She does sometimes. I think in general she's easier than Lavos 3, and I think ZL1 is definitely easier than Lavos 1 because ZL1 is quite easy.
Yeah.
But basically, if you're used to the Mammon machine being a throwaway boss and you decide to play Jets, take care around the Mammon machine. It's pretty scary, actually.
And so we see right now Samson Jester using Gatling Kick against the top part of Zombor. That is a really good idea there, because the top is vulnerable to Shadow, but that is not a good idea to use that same Gatling Kick against the bottom part.
Indeed. And we will note, it's the character who initiated the attack that takes the counterattack. So in that case, it was Luca. And probably what he would have wanted to do would be initiate it from probably Chrono's menu, because Chrono is the one that turns that to Shadow, and then if you just blaze kick the bottom...
Exactly.
Then
From
you got
small, yeah, that is really important. The menuing that you use your attack from is really important in several fights, this one included. For the Lava's final fight, it's even more important because of the counter attacks. If you kill the core, we'll get to that. The center, Lava Center.
All right.
We'll get to that.
Twin Yakras are such an interesting... Yakra is a really interesting boss moved to the end of the game, because I'm sure, as most of the audience knows, Yakra in vanilla is the first boss of the game. And given that, you know, the game is designed to go in a linear fashion such that the bosses grow with your character, so as you gain new techniques and strategies that you can try out, so do they. So mostly what Yakra does is hit you, and it doesn't hit you that hard in Cathedral because, you know, that kind of wouldn't be sporting. And then in certain spots at the end of the game, Yakra's damage can really, really start to add up.
Exactly. I mean, we have to be very careful and not like misjudge Yaku's power here. And that is a good thing to heal everyone, because so you look like, oh, it's Yakra, it's going to be an easy fight, and then a lot of counterattacks, and it gets quite tricky. So have to be very careful. And we see the mother brain, vanilla mother brain in a Genodom boss spot, which it is randomized. It is a randomized boss spot,
Yes.
but it rolled a vanilla mother brain.
That can happen. I think Nizbil was vanilla as well in this seed. Or one of them was in Reptiler, at least.
Yeah, the good thing about Mother Brain is that it has very low HP, so you can do a lot of damage to the mother. Oh, Robo's Reboot.
Ooh, yep. So that was a very long dungeon for a non-progressive item, sadly. Yep, and it's true. Chat is pointing out that SBJ's grinding in Magus' castle for techs definitely has helped him a little bit, but now he needs to stop to grind again, so we're gonna see how long he stops to grind. And honestly, the importance of this sequence in a run should not be underestimated, because your grind can be super important, but it can also lose you the game. I should know.
Yeah, that's a really interesting thing to say about grinding. Is like, if you don't grind, you're probably going to lose to Lavos. If you grind too much, you're probably going to
lose to your opponent.
Exactly. There is a sweet spot that we try to go for, which is
absolutely. And you know, sometimes it's nice if we've done enough checks that we don't have to grind. That's great, but you also don't want to waste too much time doing checks.
Exactly. Yeah, and
like Lyra going for whoa.
Whoa.
And yeah, she absolutely is showing us all the checks. So honestly, props. Honestly, I've come to really enjoy Mount Woe. I used to hate it, but
it is a really good tech to go for. What is the most rewarding things that we get from WoW that you like more right now?
Oh my gosh, for me it's the treasure, but like the experience points and tech points and stuff are nothing to shake a stick at either. And it's really not that slow once you learn all the skips.
Exactly. Yeah, there are a lot of skips. There are a lot of chests that you can actually avoid and make your dungeon go even faster. There are some really, really good rewards in terms of item. Oh, that was not what she intended.
Oh, come on, do Mount Woe for us.
Okay. I was so excited talking about.
I know, me too.
Mount Woe.
But actually, with regard to Mount Woe, we have a game mode called Ice Age, which is meant to show off Ayla especially, as well as some of the areas that we don't visit as often, and Ice Age mode uses Mount Woe as its final dungeon. So actually, anyone who wants to learn Mount Woe, I recommend playing Ice Age, because, I don't know, you have to, so it just doesn't feel like as bad a gamble, because it is true that if Mount Woe doesn't give you a good key item, you can feel pretty bad about it when you're done. So
yeah, sure.
The category that requires it, you'll learn it, you won't have wasted your time, and yeah.
So right. I was noticing that the time difference between Azure Kayo and Simon Jester kept at about 8 to 9 minutes in the when when Simon Jester finished his Zombor fight, but it took quite a while for Azure Kayo to do his Yakra fight, and Simon Jester has access to Flare. Let's see if that's going to save him some time.
Yeah. Angarel points out in chat, too, that the Lost Worlds mode puts a good amount of emphasis on Woe. It's not required, but there's basically only 5 key item checks in Lost Worlds. since that mode starts you, instead of with 600 and 1,000, you get prehistory, dark ages, and future. You'll never go to 1,000, and then you'll find a go mode amongst the checks that are available.
And we see Samson Jester using Falcon hits. So this fight right here, the scouter encounter that we all fear.
This encounter ends runs, but not if you have Falcon hit.
Yeah.
As you
Falcon
can see.
hit is a physical attack that's AoE. It's a full screen clear physical attack. And if you have a good weapon on Chrono and, well, Prism specs. Lavos! Let's talk about Lavos. Zerkale.
Yes,
starts his Lavo fight.
So, this is the outer shell of Lavos, and this is the Ocean Palace version of Lavos, which is to say, this is the Lavos that is intended to kill you in vanilla. This is not the powered down version of Lavos shell.
Yes, so the idea here, Lavos AI will start with Destruction Rain from the Heavens, and it will do about 150 to 250 damage. You follow up with Obstacle.
So random status.
Random status, which is?
Stop.
Stop. Oh, this is not good.
Yeah, so Obstacle, normally Chaos, is one of the things that's randomized in Jets of Time. It's mostly Lavos and the Mutants that use it.
Yeah, Lavos and the Mutants, they will use Obstacle.
And it'll do any random status effect, and that is why Jets of Time players push status protection at least on one character so heavily. It's why we're so happy to get things like Vigil Hats at Prism Helms. Especially, like, not having to use the accessory slot for your status protection is ideal.
And after Obstacle, Lavos will do like that. I don't think that spell has a name, but it's like it's a non-elemental attack AoE. It's really powerful, do like 300 to 400 damage. If you have magical protection, you can lower the damage, but and then he'll cycle through that AI: Destruction Rain from the Heavens, Obstacle, and the non-elemental AoE.
Question in chat: is the Lavos shell nerfed in the randomizer? It's kind of nerfed and kind of not, in the sense that all of the fights are rebalanced so that they're possible at low levels. So it is nerfed in the sense that it's not meant to just outright wipe you unless you're like level 70 or whatever. But he is still rather fast, for example. So he's still pretty dangerous.
Yeah, that Lavos fight, if you're not fast enough, there are a lot of things to consider. Azurkeo started that fight at level 33, which is quite good in terms of levels. So I don't know exactly in terms of gear how he's at, but level-wise...
Yeah, level-wise he's fine. His gear looks like alright to me. It's not the best, but it's not the... So, you know.
Well, a 900 health Chrono? Yes.
And yes, chat, the Lavos shell, it is the harder AI script, where he just kind of throws damage at you and doesn't do anything super sneaky. Notable, you are still allowed to lose to that version of Lavos without getting game over, and you'll get taken out of the Ocean Palace, and 12,000 BC will turn to the post-disaster map. You can visit the news shop again, and then you can get to Lavos either via the End of Time bucket, or you can crash the Epoch into the shell if you couldn't kill it. If you still can't kill it. The only thing crashing the Epoch does is it takes the save point away inside, so you have to consider that.
Azurkeo starting his Lavos inner fight, so Lavos phase 2, that's one of the most terrifying phases because of
Yes.
that boomerang attack,
Especially
right?
this part right here. Yeah, just a real quick note that SVJ has made up a little bit of time because he is definitely through that twin boss fight in
Indeed. I've
less
noticed like
than
a
8
5-minute
minutes.
difference right
Yep.
now.
So he's made up some time. Yeah, so the beginning of this Lavos 2 fight, so the first thing he does is the Doors of Doom, which we don't have to further comment upon, but it does do party-wide damage. And then you want to talk about what he does after that?
Yeah, so the script here, you do have the idea is to take down the arm so that he can follow up with an obstacle. When he follows up with the obstacle, then you can start hitting and actually do damage to Lavos. He has a very linear AI script for the battle. He will follow up a shadow attack that will poison your party, and then there's the flame battle, and then he'll do the Shadow Doom Blade. So you have to keep your HP above 400-ish before the Shadow Doom Blades, or else you're going to wipe, right?
Indeed. Shadow Doom Blaze is very frightening. You ideally don't want to get hit by it at all, and the good news is that the body only has, I think, 10,000 hit points, which
Yes,
is
10,000.
pretty low for this point. Although we see, so the body has to drop its defense first. So that triple kick that Azure just did, unfortunately, didn't do much.
It will drop after obstacle right now. It is
Yep.
stop. Let's see if they are. Ooh, 2 characters affected. Wow.
So the thing to do would be to see if some status effects can overwrite others, but I don't know if
Triple,
poison can overwrite stop. Yeah.
triple stop on SBJ.
Oof.
This is not good.
Yeah. So we see SVJ getting triple stopped, and yeah, that is why most players insist on at least one character having status protection. Some people will suggest that it's better to have more, and I mean, it is better to have more. I would say that most of the time you're fine as long as you have that minimum of one.
Yeah. Ideally, everyone. But if you don't have the gear for that, 2, if you don't, well, at least 1, yeah. Or else you're going to get triple stop, and that's not ideal.
Yeah.
So there's Shadow Blaze on Azure here. Although it looks like a
Yes.
really powerful fire attack, it's not fire attack.
It's Shadow. Luckily, he had high HP, so Ayla's down, but she has, like, the worst magic defense out of everybody, so, you know, she's gonna be the first to go.
On the good side, if you survive Shadow Doom Blaze, it will take a lot of time for Lavos to do more attacks, so you actually don't have to worry too much about HP. You just have to do damage, so you can hit the 10,000 mark.
Yeah, no, after Shadow Doom Blaze, just hit him, because the next thing he actually hits you with will probably kill you anyway. So
exactly.
Yeah, just don't get hit by it.
Double stop right now, at least.
Double's not triple. All right. Azure's through Lavos too.
Oof.
SVJ getting hit by that energy release. Energy release is what it's called when the Mammon machine does it with the same animation. So I think we just sort of unofficially call it that.
That's true. Good. Ooh, nice.
Chat question. Dying to the Lavos shell and crafting the epic is definitely slower than just being able to beat it outright in just about any case. But because the Lavos shell is so especially aggressive with its damage, it is absolutely possible that you could be unable to beat the shell and be able to beat the other two. So it's kind of, you know, if you have to take the epic option, it's there, it works. You have to sit through the whole cutscene where it crashes. It's definitely not recommended.
I timed it once, and it was like 4 minutes if you finish your golem twin fights and then you go and simply die and wipe to Lavos shell. It's about 4 minutes and you're in Lavos phase 2. So
All right, and Azure Kale's into Lavos 3. Got a
Ooh.
great menu glitch, which we can talk about more when SPJ's through Lavos 2, which he's just starting. Looks
There are a
like
lot of things to talk about in this Lavos fight, right? There are a lot of possibilities that the Lavos score, I mean, the center will start his time warp sequences during this fight. So, what are those time warp sequences, Betsy?
so the center bit can warp to any of the 5 time periods that you typically visit and has a nasty move associated with each. Now, he does have very specific AI scripts. So the first warps are either going to be, we're going to see, okay, this one's 1000 AD, Millennial
Yeah.
Fair is one of them. The other is prehistory. And then I think the other scripts he can go into are the lightning bolts and the slaps. Where he either hits you with lightning for way too much damage, or he slaps you in the face for way too much damage, and it also costs dignity.
Yeah, so if Lava Center having 8,000 hit points, ideally you'd like to go and finish off the center to avoid, for example, spell random status, which is okay, that was good.
That was that random status spell that Lavos just did can often, I mean, that can ruin your fight right there.
Exactly.
And Ash is very lucky that he got away with just one character asleep.
Exactly. It can be like stop, lock, confuse, chaos. I mean,
anything.
Anything. And there's a time warp again.
All right, now it's 600.
That's Evil Star.
Evil Star.
HP.
Yep, half HP.
Oof. Ooh, center's down.
Center's down. So the thing about the Lavos core is that while the center bit looks like the main attraction, it's a decoy. And the actual, like, you know, beating heart of Lavos or whatever is that bit that's on our right. So we need to kill either the left or the center bit so that the right bit will drop its defense, because it's required to do that, as it's doing right now, in order to bring the other pieces back to life.
We are seeing other KO using triple kick and confuse.
Yeah.
That's the awesome text. But we do have to consider Savon Jester has access to Gatling Kick that will do 4,000 damage each hit.
Oh yeah.
So that's less animation time. Let's see if he's going to save.
Yep. And so we're going to watch here. Hopefully when the screen goes black, SVJ is going to hit his menu button. Yep.
Nice.
So this is just an exploit, actually. Many people familiar with Jets of Time know that standard rules, we patch most of the glitches that are exploited in a lot of vanilla speedruns of Chrono Trigger. The things that we patch are like the boss skips and stuff like that, and these menu glitches, you're still allowed to do that in certain places, and it's a huge part of the strategy, menuing between Lavos 2 and 3. You can change your equipment like he's doing if you need to, you can heal. It's huge. Missing that menu glitch is not a good time.
There's another option here, considering Zerke has Frog and Leyland in his party. Like, there is Dropkick, that's also a very good dual attack that is available, I think.
I don't remember if Frog ever learned Leap Slash.
Yeah, that was what I was going to.
Yeah.
I think Frog hasn't unlocked Leap Slash for that to be of. So, Samson Jester with Blaze Kick, doing 5,000 damage. Wow.
Don't have to worry about that center bit anymore.
Let's see if that's going to save him a lot of time.
Alright.
And defense is off. And Gatling Kick. Woof, that's only 4 attacks.
Yep, that's 20,000 HP on that right bit. So this is, assuming Lavos doesn't, as we like to say, do Lavos things to either of these players, this is going to come down to a nail biter.
Yes. So after a short period of time, the lava's core will revive the center. And the good thing is that although we see that he's in a time period there, he will not use that attack and he will time warp again to use the following one. So that's some time that you can save.
Yep.
If all the parts are alive, Lava's core will put his defense back up. So you do have some time to some extra damage, maybe to kill.
Oh! Whoa,
Wow!
GG, he sniped it. He sniped it. Wow.
GG, Sinful Jester.
Wow. And see, this is why we talk about you have to grind the exact right amount, because we'll see how fast Azure finishes, but I think we'll be able to illustrate here just how little a difference like an extra fight or two could have made.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And the time difference was really big, wasn't it? I mean, if we consider like 8 minutes and he just went through.
Yep.
Congratulations.
I'm sure we'll get him in here for an interview in just a sec. But yeah, congrats. That's amazing.
That's amazing. That's the power of having a really good single target spell doing 4,000 to 5,000 damage.
And GG Azure.
GG Azure K.
So let me look at these official times in the race room.
Ooh, less than a minute difference. That's 2 hours, 6 minutes, 36 seconds for Sample Jester, and 2 hours, 7 minutes, and 34
seconds. So 58 seconds.
Wow.
Wow.
That's about, I remember it was about a 10, he cut up like 10 minutes. Impressive.
Yep. It just goes to show. Welcome in, guys. Congratulations.
Hey. Welcome in. Congrats.
Thank you.
Okay, so what you guys didn't see is SVJ, you just sniped that win out from under Azure. And we had, let me tell you, we had lots of discussions about what the right amount of grinding is, because too little or too much will kill you, but yours, as they say in the Three Bears, was just right. So congrats.
Well, I like to be, little side note, I like to be level 31 when I hit that grind. If I'm hit level 31, I don't grind, I just go. I was like, cool, I got one hit and I'm good to go. I was worried about Chrono's speed. That was my concern.
Fair enough. But congrats and GG to Azure too. Who didn't finish Cathedral. You went through that seed with the Chrono Frog Ayla team.
Yeah.
After I figured out Luca was there, I was very sad.
Yeah, well, I do think Luca helped.
I didn't really find a lot of good text early on with Frog and Chrono, so I was like, I was like, oh, I'll go to the back. Oh, it's Luca. Okay. Oh, she has flare. Sweet. Okay.
Share your thoughts about the seed overall. What do you think about?
I've actually never finished a seed with that party before.
Well, congrats.
And thank you. And it was that was very, I was like, okay, I know there's a triple tech around here somewhere that I could use. Oh, it's there it is. It's Chrono, Ayla, and Luca. So Gatling Kick was doing. Go ahead.
Better triple attacks, yeah.
Yeah, Gatling Kick was doing nearly 6,000 damage. So I was like, okay.
So,
I two-shot Magus, or three-shot. Sorry.
The time difference was about like 9 minutes between both of you. So SRK was actually 9 minutes ahead of you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So by
I just started barreling down the line with Falcon hits and all that stuff.
Pretty much once you started on the on Magus and got into the gauntlet there, yeah. You just blasted through everything.
I think you saved a lot of time on the Yakra twin fight. That was a huge time save, and also Lavos phases 1, 2, and 3 actually.
Yeah, I mean, when I found out that obstacle was stop, I had to reboot and reset and. get that all fixed up.
I will say, probably the most stressful Lavos sequence I've ever had to do, since all I had was triple kick and confuse with Vedic Blade. It was not ideal.
So Leap Slash was not available, was it?
It was 100 away when I finished the Acro fight, so I was 2 grind fights away from having a lot better fight, and I just didn't know.
Yeah, that's the problem actually. Frog requires more attack points than all the other characters to unlock his last attack. That's something, sometimes he will lack his very last attack.
Yep.
That's not ideal.
I'm actually surprised I sniped that. Ugh.
That was, you guys have to go back and watch the VOD. That was amazing. And
congratulations to both of you. It was an amazing
absolutely
show.
Both of you. And Azure, you absolutely should not feel bad. That was a very resourceful run.
Lyra named Magus Jean. I'm so happy.
Oh.
I'm very sad I missed the Chrono. But I didn't find a rainbow, so
I did not.
Was there a rainbow available? Let me check, actually.
I found the Prism spec, so I was very happy with that.
Yes, I was watching when you were in Guardia. I think that was Guardia Forest.
Yep, 680.
Yep.
Actually, a rainbow was charmable off Nisbel. Okay.
Oh,
that's it.
I had charm at that time.
Charmable off Nisbel 1. Yeah, that was a really good. It's been a really good run from you all.
Yeah, that was an amazing race.
We were talking about the difference. If you have a really good, powerful single target stack, the difference between having to watch several animations from 2 or 3 characters and only one, it's a lot of time to.
Absolutely.
A big time save.
Yeah, I had every other I had the gate key and the. I'm really glad I actually did factory for magic because I found all those dark mails or those black mails, and I was able to just cheese Guardian all day, Wonder Shot, and oh no, he's counterattacking me, not shadowed in.
Where was the ruby knife? Out of curiosity.
The ruby knife.
I don't know if we've actually seen it. We might have to check the spoiler log.
Did anyone check Mount Woe?
Yeah, I think you can.
Can I share? Okay, so it was a Melchior rewarding.
I had that set up. So I didn't find anything in Reptile Lair. I was gonna go straight and do Prism Shard and Moonstone.
Yeah, so there was another possibility for you, Jester, because I think you found the pendant and you found the clone, right?
Yeah, I found the pendant and the clone, yeah.
Azurkeo, did you? I don't think you finished Ares, did you?
No.
No. So that was the Chrono Trigger was behind the Hero Medal, which was behind the Giant Claw. So it was if you went Thomas Pop, because I think you found.
I found Thomas Pop, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Sorry, no, I didn't.
No? Oh, you didn't?
It was in Trial.
Trial, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that was not available to you that fast because you'd have to finish the Queen's Trial and then get your Thomas Pop, do Thomas Pop, get the Hero Medal, and then you'd get the Chrono Trigger. And that would be a long way for Azurkeo as well because of Ares Dome and all.
Indeed. Yeah, Omega's Castle was definitely the fast go mode in this case, which I know is nobody's favorite, but.
Oh, I don't mind it.
Yeah.
I don't have to grind as fast or as far because of it. So.
Oh no, absolutely, that is true.
I did have to take that fight because I was like, okay, how far am I to fire 2? 2 fights because I really want a Gatling kick for Mega's fight. And he was happy to provide his shadow damage. That was very nice. Yeah. And I didn't die to Luminaire, so.
Oh.
Yeah, that very last attack was really brave.
Yeah, I just went for it. Same thing with Lavos. Yeah. I'm like Lavos has stop, and I got 1 Gatling kick and a Blaze kick off. Confused twice.
Yep. There's actually, I know you guys know this, but this is for the audience, but one of the newer flags or like works we've been testing is Obstacle has always been sort of peekable if you fight a mutant before Lavos, you get to see what the status effect is. Of course, on the other hand, that status effect could be a brick wall stopping you from getting progress, and that was a problem. So I think how it works, and if someone in the chat can correct me if I get it wrong, but is that Obstacle is always slow until you have amulets available. I don't remember exactly how the logic works, but I think that's how it is now.
Yeah, I think what is the? It's not going to be stop at the early game. I think that's how.
Okay. Seeing slower lock in chat, which that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's not going to be stop because the stop. I mean, you usually don't have access to an amulet or status protection early on. So if it's stop, you can't do nothing about it, right?
Yep. Yeah. No, that's just it. If the whole party gets stopped.
And that would be kind of a soft lock your seed, and that's not ideal.
No.
Yep. So I miss being able to peek at it, but it's nice that a mutant can't just be like, "You're done."
Yeah, the new logic just it's not going to be a takeout with the mutant obstacle.
Yep.
It could be sleep or lock or.
Speaking of, there's Terra Mutant on Lyra's screen.
The Mutants are just no fun to
see.
see.
Times is indeed a great song. An awesome ending there. Yeah, so Lyra has access to Glacier, which is quite a decent magical attack there to fight the mutant, Terra Mutant, as well as Luminaire, isn't it?
Luminaire, Luminaire's alright. It's definitely not as powerful as Flare, and I'm only saying that because I know that Lyra has Luca available, but apparently hates her.
Well, she saved my butt this seed, I can't.
No, Lyra named Luca trash, so
she does not like Luca very much.
Apparently not.
It's because she's very slow. Now, I believe Marley is slower, but...
Actually, in vanilla, Luca and Robo start both at 6, and Marl starts at 8. But then again, Luca and Robo have better techs than Marl does, so I guess that's how you balance it.
Yeah, I'm super happy I went for Ayla back in Cathedral.
Yeah, when we saw that, we knew immediately that everyone who finished Cathedral was going to just be like, yeah.
There was a brief moment I considered once I saw who Magus was in Burrow. I'm like, I should just go do Cathedral. It'll lose me time, but save me time.
Yeah, it's such a gamble. It possibly could have saved you time in this seed, though. Because she did have early flare.
I did not find a lot of good techs on either of the characters that I had. I was like, I needed something.
Yeah. No, the starting techs and the gate key not being like super early was rough. It was definitely difficult for all the runners to start dishing out the damage in the way that we like to do so. There's Mega Mutant.
There's Mega Mutant. I think that we're going to see some faster fights here from later than because of Glacier and Luminaire. It's going to be some faster fight. I think, considering the amount of hit points that the party is like for 500, so should be about level 24, maybe 25, something.
Yeah, possibly higher. There's let's see. Lyra didn't do Mount Woe. She went into Terra Cave for a second. And we were really excited, and then she left, and it was very sad. Oh yeah, there's Obstacle doing lock actually.
So we are seeing that none of her characters have status protection on, so that's not ideal for the lava fight because of the obstacle being stopped. So let's see how she managed to deal with that later on.
It'll be ideal to pick up an amulet at least in Zeal.
I thought about grabbing Magus to get his amulet, and I changed my mind.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, I'm just gonna go steal his amulet. I'll be right back.
It possibly would have been a worthwhile thing to do.
Yeah, I think like if you have forged the swords, I mean, that's not a character. It was you knew it was Magus beforehand. Did you check the burrow
Yeah,
before?
I checked it. I checked it real quick when I was in the area,
Okay.
grabbing all my little all my stuff.
Yeah, even if you don't use it, I mean, if you have another source of status protection, it's always good to maybe sell the amulet for some like 25,000 gold. So you can buy more good stuff in the new shop. Which today the new shop was not very great, wasn't it?
No. It did have elixirs and amulets. So
yeah, well, it always has amulets. Those are guaranteed.
Underwhelming, right? I mean, we always want to look for like.
Yeah, like I like elixirs, but I don't want elixirs to be the nicest thing in the new shop, you know? Like, I want that to be what I spend my extra money on.
I was chugging back those elixirs because
yeah.
I was very MP expensive for that last fight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hey, whatever you gotta do. They're heading back to the Millennial Fair for more groceries. As you can see, Melchior's shop, he sells actually a mid-level weapon for each character, except for Ayla, who doesn't need weapons, and for Magus, who only has endgame weapons, so his starting weapon is, like, better than that stuff. And he also always sells revives and shelters, so that's a really good shop to know about if you need more damage, or if you need, you know, revives, just anything.
Yeah, it's a really good shop indeed. And sometimes, I mean, we are approaching the end of the seed, but during the start of the run, if you want like to get the extra power right at the beginning, you just go there and spend your money on some starting weapon.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and heading to the future.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Shopping, maybe?
Maybe, yeah. There were like some good consumables in this shop. I think I think it had yeah.
For a moment, I was like, "Wow, the shop is loaded. Look at how many."
I know, right? Everything you could want. Like, no, sadly, that was the sell screen.
Oh.
But I think I remember it having something.
Maybe it's an idea, like having a very secret shop shuffled around. That's the ultimate shop in the feed, and it's like, where's the ultimate shop?
Oh, like we could put it on a random NPC.
Yes.
That'd be funny. Yep, looks like picking up some consumables. I think Lyra, I believe Lyra did save Fritz. I think everybody saved Fritz. But this was a seed where you needed to use more text than usual, I feel like, just because, you know, when you don't have the better ones for damage output, you gotta do, you know, more. And wouldn't be surprised if the supply of mid-ethers is drying up.
Yeah, usually, I mean, we are all very happy when we see like flare, and we can just flare most of the things in the seed. But when we have a situation like where look is not available, like really fast, and sometimes we are stuck with a Malu with healing tax, Frog with a cure and cure 2. We have to
lucky
work
thing
with that.
Rocket Water 2 this seed.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
And the lightning too, I mean, it was not at all bad, the seed. The starting tag, you had 2 AoEs. It's not at all bad, but... I think the race today is also showing that sometimes it's actually good to finish Cathedral, even though we we might have like Robo and Mars for the quests and Frog. And I mean, sometimes it's a really good character that's going to power you through the seed.
It's true. I mean, it's always a gamble because it's just everything is guesswork until you've done enough that it isn't. And once you've done enough that it isn't guesswork, you're probably worrying because you're probably behind.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that Central Jester went for the seal chest in the forest, getting that Prism specs, but also helped him a lot to do more than 4,000 damage, so that enabled him to do a very fast lava sequence and ultimately winning, right? So that's a gamble that paid off.
Absolutely.
There is also that option. If you don't want to actually just stop and wait, you can just go down that small ladder there.
I think that's the game's intended way for you to dodge.
Lyra is going to get a white mail here if she decides to open all the chests. And there's another power tab. I don't know. Let's see.
Tab down there.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the magic tab.
White mail. Right, there was a magic seal too.
Oh, a Valkyrie form.
Not necessarily bad.
The downside of going down here is that you have to try and see where is the save point that will lead. Not actually a save point, the position that will lead you up.
It's true. They are in specific places depending on which hole you fell down. So, which is to say, like when Asher falls down on purpose, he knows exactly what he's doing.
Oh.
You start falling down on accident, you're not going to know which one is going to get you out of there right away.
Interesting. Now we'll watch the VOD and learn how to quickly run out of the... I've been trying actually to avoid this, even in situations where I'm like a really fast Magus Castle go mode available. Here we go again.
Yep.
A really fast go mode available. It's like it is a 45 seconds commitment. Like.
Yep. I think if you're desperate for gear, like if you're just having a really bad seed for gear, it's worth it. Usually. Otherwise, I usually skip it. I just go out. Actually, if you see the path she just took around the holes, that's it. I just take it without holes there if I'm doing well. I think I have a tutorial graphic I can upload, actually, where I just outlined the path in bright pink so you can actually see it. Yeah.
Interesting.
So... Okay. And, Ice Water's a good call for this particular fight, actually. Well, did the stream freeze?
At least.
Okay.
For me as well.
All right. Sorry, we have a frozen stream. Apologies. Please bear with us.
That's a really powerful Ice Water freezing the whole stream.
Yeah.
Hopefully, she'll get back soon enough. Oh, I see progress.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, this is see, we learn something every day. I was not aware that for each hole there is exactly one spot, the same spot to go back again. Wait.
Yeah. We will just have to hope it comes back. I don't know, I know the race isn't over, but while it's frozen, is this an okay time to, like, talk about the community? Or, like,
Yeah, I
let
think why not? I mean, meanwhile,
Yeah, if it comes back on, we'll stop.
yeah, sure.
But, yeah, if anyone out there in the audience wants to try getting into Jets of Time, it's super fun. It's got a pretty I think it's got a pretty gentle learning curve in terms of, like, learning the basics, and honestly, our community is very, very willing to help out with stuff. If you wanna ask someone to coach you, you absolutely can. No question is too stupid. We will answer every question.
Yeah,
So really
for
just
sure. I definitely agree. The community is really welcoming. Newer players, feel free to join us. We do have a lot of guides and tutorials to help you start. If you want guidance, you can share your stream. We'll help you as well. If
Yep.
you're enjoying what you are seeing today, and yeah, feel free to join it.
Like, oh, the stream moved, but then it froze again.
We're getting glimpses of progress.
Indeed. Okay, now to the juggler fight.
Back to normal.
The source, so we should be hopefully getting it back to normal in here in a second.
Yeah, so for example, doing your very first seed, it might take you a while for you to learn where you go, what to do, what to buy, what to sell, how to fight bosses and all. But after a few seeds and as you go and hang out, watch some restreamed races and learn from the commentators, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the other nice thing is it's kind of Jets is sort of designed around I don't know. I mean, I guess what our official statement says is like it's designed around classic Chrono Trigger gameplay. You don't
Mhm.
really need to know how to speedrun this game to get started at it. You don't necessarily need to already know a ton of tricks. Um, come in with whatever knowledge you have, and you should be able to learn the rest.
Yeah, and there's also some newer categories right now that we have available. If you want to try out some different modes, there are several modes that you can um, play in Jets of Time. So
That's true. Tons of new stuff, actually.
yeah,
We've had a lot. Right. Stream is still breaking up, but it looks like the Aussie Fight is going exactly as you would expect the Aussie Fight to go.
that's good to know. That's important.
We thank you. Yes, we
Nice.
thank you for handling the issues, and we understand that technology does this, so we can be patient.
Yeah. Yeah, I think going back to the learning curve, there are a lot of things to learn. That is true, right? So you have both strategies, you do have how to route the
Mhm.
logic and how to decide what dungeon to do next when you are actually ready to do certain dungeons, right?
Absolutely.
So this is something that it might take some time to learn, but you'll see when you fight the bosses, when you go through the dungeons, and if you're prepared or not, you get a very fast feedback, right?
Absolutely. I
So,
mean, okay, our community, we're like so happy to help that we have like an internal meme about how we like trip over each other trying to help people. So, like all we're saying is that nobody should be afraid to come in and ask questions or for help. We're happy to have you.
And we do have some pickup races. Also, there's some shadowed events. There's some restreaming. We do some restreaming as well. So if you want to race, learn and race. Well, that's haste. Catalyze wait time by half. So we see little hasting mod.
Could be useful depending on the strategy she's going with for damage, which it sounds like source is being refreshed. So hopefully we'll get to see more of this soon. Right now we're just guessing based on freeze frames. Yeah. This is definitely a good fight to use haste on if you can't do damage very efficiently. And I guess by efficiently, well, for this fight, I'd say about 1,000 per hit or more. Sometimes way more, but that would be my my lower end.
On this particular team, we'll unlock a triple tag called Arc Impulse, which is a really good tag to use because it's like a very powerful tag. If you have everyone hasted, you can just Arc Impulse, Arc Impulse, Arc Impulse to do a lot of damage and finish this fight very fast. I don't think Lyra has access to that yet.
Probably not. I mean, I'm guessing that's yet another one that requires leap slash from Frog, and we knew that that was an issue. The seed. Sadly.
Indeed.
Oh, that looks like actual. Okay. I see a fire barrier going up in real time, so I think we're back.
Ooh, nice. Oh, awesome.
Okay. So another haste. So Chrono has it too.
Yeah, so Arc Impulse is a spin cut, Ice Chill, and Leap Slash. Maybe, considering the fact Lyra went to Genodom, maybe she's going to unlock Leap Slash. And if she does, there's Arc Impulse.
That's true. It would be really fun to see that. Since we've already seen Gatling Kick, you know.
Yeah.
But triple techs aren't always super efficient, so we don't see them very often, but who doesn't like seeing them for the swag, right?
I mean, particularly, I really enjoy triple tech whenever I have the chance.
Yeah.
There was a seed once, I think it was one of our community races that Delta Force was like available right from the start. And I was like, I was using Delta Force everywhere.
If you need shadow damage. So there's what she's probably hoping for, which is a water barrier, because now Glacier is on the table.
I think that's the most powerful magic tech available right now, isn't it? Glacier.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I forget if I mentioned it earlier when we or during the other Megas fights. But he counterattacks and changes his barrier every time you attack him, except when you hit him with the Masamune to lower his magic defense. And as an aside, as of a recent-ish update, the Grand Leon, the upgraded Masamune, which you'd normally not have at this point in the game, also works. So you don't have to equip the weak one to get the bonus, which is really lovely.
Indeed.
But the other thing is, if you just can't handle the barriers because, you know, you've only got an element or two and he keeps only giving you the other elements, just punch him in the face. Just use your strongest physical tech. Like, confuses can be nice, Uzi punches, triple kicks. and he'll still change the barrier, but he takes the damage. It still counts. So if you can't do it magically, that's honestly a good way.
And the mega fight is over.
Yep.
And we can also actually run into Megas here, and he has a very unique palette.
Yes. Lots of interesting things can happen during that particular animation.
Yeah.
Especially if you have duplicate characters on, which means that simply put, any character can overwrite any other character. So you could have, that's one of our flags. You could get a character that the game understands is Marl, but she could look like Chrono, act like Chrono, hold a sword, etc.
I think, as you're saying about duplicate characters, I think we can talk about some of the flags that we have available, right?
Yeah.
Why not? So the duplicate characters, as Batsy mentioned,
yeah, dupes is fun. We should mention the double text in dupes too. Is that most of the characters have been given double text with themselves, which is really fun, honestly. For example, Frogs is probably the best because he does his like muscle pose and he casts hexagon mist, but it's called flexagon mist. And Chrono has a self X strike that I wish I was the one to think of this joke, but I wasn't. It's called Chrono Cross. So
yeah, duplicate mod will unlock Glacier, just as the Glacier that we have with Allen Frog. Double Look will grant you Point Flare, which is a single target fire attack. Ayla will grant you Beast Toss. And there are a lot of interesting possibilities with duplicate characters because you can, today actually we played a seed where we found Chrono as Mars, and the sprites were really fun to watch.
Yes. Yeah, when characters replace each other, some of the animations get very silly very quickly. It's a lot of fun. Do you want to talk about some of the other flag sets while Lyra fights the news here?
Yeah, I mean, if you try when you go and generate a seed, there are a lot of options that you can change. For example, there's the enemy difficulty that you can like raise. We play on normal, but you can put on hard. For example, Lavos has more HP. Most enemies have more HP and all. There's the item difficulty that you can go easy, normal, or hard. If you go easy, you're getting better loot early on. Hard, you're getting worse loot and all. There's the game modes actually. So yeah, let's talk about the game modes, right? So we are playing standard race flags today with boss randomizer, but we do have Lost Worlds, Ice Age, Legacy of Cyrus, and there's the newish vanilla random. Can you share more about those?
So my understanding about vanilla rando is that that balances the randomizer much more closely to vanilla and allows you to play through the game in a randomized way. There's also a newish flag that I think may be somewhat intended to mix with vanilla mode called Epic Fail, where you start with the Epic, but it doesn't have wings. So you can't get onto the other continents immediately, which does make some of your checks a little more complicated.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to see how the randomizer Jets of Time is expanding in terms of possibilities, and that's great because it's active development.
There's tons of stuff coming out right now. Chat entrance randomizer when? Well, I suppose we could ask the development team. Clearly,
Wow, that would be mind blowing, right?
Right.
I think I must say that was the most crazy, I mean, mind-shocking thing I did with Jets of Time was trying to play two seeds with the same controller. That was a huge mistake from my mind. But don't do that. Don't do that. You're going like the next day you're like your head's like spinning.
Oh no.
It was crazy. So we have the unlock the magic flag. If you put that on, for example, you don't have to go to the end of time and unlock magic.
Yep.
We have the Chrono Sanity flag. Chrono
Yes.
Sanity game option, I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Chrono Sanity is where the key items can be scattered in treasure chests, just pretty much any treasure chests. There's a few that they can't be in because any area that becomes inaccessible after you finish it won't have anything that you need to complete the game. But other than that, your items can be wherever. So it's interesting because bosses can still hold key items, but they might not. So do you skip the boss? Do you fight the boss because it might still have the item? You have to know where every treasure chest is.
Exactly. That's a lot of, yeah. I mean, if you're starting out, I mean, don't play Chrono Sanity yet, because there's a lot. I think it's 183 or something
It's
checks.
a lot, yeah.
That's a lot of routing to memorize. And but if you want to play, we do have some people to help you, and there are guides available, and also don't worry about that.
Yeah, certainly.
What else do we have? Randomized bosses. I mean, we are all playing randomized bosses now, right?
Yeah, randomized bosses is pretty popular, especially with this new version. It used to only swap like single target bosses with single target bosses and double target with double target, and I think none of the three or more target bosses were ever randomized. And now just about everything can be just about anywhere, which is pretty interesting. And it's the system by which they scale is a lot more sophisticated too. We're still working on it, but it's really impressive.
But the progress so far, I've played the very first version of the boss randomizer back then, and the progress, it's incredible. I mean, the amount of I mean, it was not even, it was something that we all thought about, like, what if we had randomized bosses, you know? It was like, it was a huge something that we really aspired to play, but it was not available, and now we have a full randomized boss flag to play with.
Yep, and gosh, we talked about Ice Age a little earlier, which is it's similar to playing with the standard flags that you see here, and you can play it with or without Boss Rando on. Um, it has a different goal, which is to like explore prehistory and Mount Woe and see the Ice Age start. You have to use Ayla. There's also a mode called Legacy of Cyrus, which is kind of a similar arrangement where you need to use Frog and Magus, and that one also takes you to Northern Ruins and Aussie's Fort, which generally you never see. So those are pretty fun too. They're also a little shorter than a standard seed typically. There's tons of stuff to do, honestly.
Indeed. There's the make all treasure tabs flag if you want to.
Oh yes.
To challenge yourself, or if you want to really find a lot of power tabs and magic tabs and speed tabs.
Yep. There's that glacier from Lyra.
Nice.
She's been using many attacks on Zombor's upper half, but I think the glacier was the way to go. And now the pants.
So you can change the amount of plus power, plus magic, plus speed from the tabs. That's also that. There is also that possibility.
Yeah, that's
duplicate
true.
Duplicate characters, boss randomizer. There's some experimental flags we're working on. A lot of things going on.
For sure. We've got a wiki that's like new-ish. It's not completely filled out, but there's a pretty good amount of information there, even so. tons of guides.
Indeed.
Many of which Moon Blizzard made, and I mean, I feel like you made most of the like classic canonical new player guides. Moon Blizzard's got video for like most of the skips if you don't know how to do the dungeon skips, and also a new video called News First Seed, where you 100%ed a seed, right, and just explained everything.
Yeah, the goal of that tutorial video is like having a very first video to go for if you want to start from fresh without knowing anything about the randomizer. And because the previous one, it was mainly focused on routing and how to skip battles, so it didn't cover anything about logic and all and strategy. Because I think personally, I think like getting into a new randomizer, it's not easy, you know? I don't know what's your opinion about it, Patsy, but maybe
generally
if you want to
not super easy,
yeah, if you want to start out a new and learn a new randomizer.
Yeah. You know, it's definitely there's always so much difference from playing vanilla, and you have to like teach your brain to just not think about the game in any sort of linear sense. I do think this one is fairly accessible, though.
Yeah.
If you know vanilla Chrono Trigger fairly well, then this is something that shouldn't be too hard to jump into.
Now, before playing Jets of Time, I did a very fresh. So I watched a running play in Jets of Time, and I was like, wow, this seems really good. And I'm like, okay, let me play vanilla first because I haven't played like 15 years or so, and then
Sure.
we'll start from there.
Yeah, honestly, tutorials aside, just watching races is really helpful too.
Yeah, I must admit, I think that's the way I actually learn a lot of things, like watching people playing at the time, racing, like why, what are the strategies runners use and all.
Right. Lyra is using the grind spot. See how much she decides to do here.
What's the what's her level at?
I've been trying to watch for a menu.
And I think in this situation, I guess Luminaire would be able to kill the mages, maybe, but I'm not.
Let's see how much Lightning 2 does. 300 something. So Luminaire might kill them, yeah. Couple more levels, and I think it definitely would. Because that's how it works. Let's see.
Yes, I do remember Zerkeo mentioning something about the Lapis Last. Yeah, Lapis Last was not available because it was like 100-ish tech points away, right?
I think so, yeah.
So there is weird math that if you want to like memorize, there is not a math, but a series of tag points. For example, in this, let me, if I find here, I will share.
35 already, actually, level 35 already.
So if you get all the fights, including the very first one in the in this dungeon, like this exact, no, the other one, the grind fights, you get 759 tech points. If you run away from the first elevator fight, the one that has the 2 blue and the 2 yellow scouts, if you run away from that fight and you do the very first one until the end, you're going to get 694 tag points. So if you are like 700 tag points away from attack, you are not going to learn if you skip the very first fight in the elevator. So 700 is the number that I keep in mind if I want to unlock after finishing the Twin Golem fight.
Yep, and it is worth noting too that if you're playing boss rando, the yields from the Twin Golem fight will be a little bit random too. So you might need to be slightly more flexible if boss rando's on. So I've noticed different bosses give me different amounts of tech points in that spot.
Wasn't that before
before?
Arc changed that to a fixed tech point?
Is it? Well, if it's fixed now, I missed it, and I apologize, but we can check.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess it's not random anymore, so that's helpful. Because it used to be just like,
Yeah, that was something that we were like 40. I mean, it was like 14,000 experience points.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? It was like extremely high. And then we had a chance to go back to Vanilla Valley some. I don't remember when that occurred actually, but we had really indeed, as Betsy said, some random tech point reward from bosses, and it was not very good because sometimes we would get like 100, 250, 40. It was completely random.
Yep. It's also nice to know, it's good to learn kind of how tech points work in Chrono Trigger, which is to say, so somewhat obviously, you earn tech points, and when you've earned enough tech points that you reach a threshold, you learn a tech. But the game also, I think this is just because of a programming bug, if a character learns a tech from a battle, the tech points they gained from that battle are doubled. And most of the players in this run even used that to their advantage at the very beginning when leveling up. By using a certain track of fights, you can control that and get some techs quicker because you're doubling tech points or even tripling them. So knowing how to do that is quite useful. And vanilla speedruns will, of course, plan out the whole experience track beforehand, and we can't do that, but knowing that you can take advantage of that is still pretty valuable.
Indeed, that is a really good point you presented us. Yeah, the doubling your tech points, it's something that you have to keep in mind. It's a game changer for it in some seeds. Because if you happen to find Megas, for example, right? And you can double tech like 20 tech points into a dark matter unlocking or something, that's a huge difference.
Yes, Magus requires more tech points to learn his first tech than all the other characters, because everybody else gets the first one at 5 and the second one at 10, and I think the third one at 50. And Magus gets his first one at 50. And then he starts learning them a little faster after that. Overall, it's balanced. But
yeah, that was a kind of design so that you don't like start with dark matter like as soon as you find Magus, because that would be unbalanced.
He does have a lot of screen wipes, so it's understandable.
Yeah, we haven't actually seen. Sorry. Go.
Oh, Frog just learned X Strike, or Leap Slash
nice.
rather. So there's the new X Strike. If someone wants to use it, now's the time.
Let's see how Lyra is going to deal with the elevator fight. Today, we haven't actually seen Magus in action today, right? So
we have not. Nobody decided to use him.
Yeah, Magus is a character that excels in the mid game, like because you have a lot of good attacks like Dark Matter, Dark Mist, a lot of good screen wipe attacks that you can get advantage from, but by the end game, considering the fact that he doesn't have a lot of synergies, I mean, very specific synergies.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have double techs. He gets triple techs, but only from 2 rocks, I think. I think he's only on 2 of them, just black and blue. Which are both full screen attacks anyway. And near the end of the game, there are a lot of things you don't necessarily just want to go full screen whole hog on all the time. You know, Lava's Core, for example, we saw some of our runners using the center bit strats, which is, we just name them by which bit you take out to get it to drop its defense. But when the center bit goes down, once the center bit's dead, if you touch the left, it'll counterattack you and it hurts. And you don't want those attacks going off all the time unless you have like a bunch of safe helms or something that will let you do that strategy. Because, you know, if you can, go ahead. But
yeah, for example, if you if you fight Lavas with Frog, Maul, and Luca, for example, and you don't have a really good physical attack to use, so you can rely on Untitled 3 or Frog Squash or Flare, but if you manage to kill the center bit with those attacks, and if the other two are alive, you're going to get a counter attack, and you need to protect yourself from that.
Indeed. And of course, if you're fighting Queen Zeal through Black Omen, that's the other thing. Magus isn't always great there because, well, most of the things in Black Omen soak shadow. Not everything does, but most of the things do. And with those full screen attacks, you don't want to use those against the second form of Queen Zeal because her hands will counterattack you with Life Shaver and MP Buster. So that's not a good time either. You need...
Yeah, although it's always a thing to keep in mind because you can count the amount of damage you're dealing to Zeal, and you need to reach the 10,000 HP threshold for her to use Halation. And if you're like 7,000, 8,000, you're running out of time because she will cast some really threatening AoE attack. So maybe using Untitled 3 as a last resource or something like that.
That's true. If you gotta, because Queen Zeal has this AI script where she gets nastier and nastier, and then she'll do Shadow Gear, which is a mean shadow attack, and then she'll do Hexagon Mist, which is just the worst water attack and will probably wipe you. Maybe it won't, but yeah. The way to do that is if you deal, as Moonblizzard said, 10,000 damage, her script will reset. So yeah, actually, if you're that desperate, if you think she's about to nuke you, then it might be worth a full screen attack on her. It's all very contextual. You know, most of these strategies that we talk about are true most of the time, but that's the fun of the randomizer, is that situations come up where this stuff isn't true anymore, and you have to find something else to do. It's fun.
Indeed. I think yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, when we compare with a vanilla run, for example, a randomized runs like makes you think strategies every time. Like every run is different from the previous one, right? And
it keeps it very fresh.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, there goes Marl.
Yeah, double Yakra in this spot here is
it can be tough. You have to watch for the counterattacks.
Now make sure to like not queue up a lot of attacks, like wait. I think Lyra has access to iSword too.
I think so.
iSword 2 would be able to hit both of them if they are close enough.
Yeah, I think they might be close enough right now as well. I'm not positive. But if they are close enough, I think that would be the better strategy, because ice water is just takes ice and water. And Ice Sword 2 takes Confuse and Ice too, so there's a lot more base strength going into that. And
it's
okay,
interesting to one's dead, nice.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to note. I think most of the bosses here, they will not walk around, so they have a fixed position. But Yakra actually does walk around, and because usually you can't use Ice Sword 2 here, right? Because they are kind of spread in a way that you can't. But
I would say typically they would spread out. You might get the chance, but Yakra is kind of random. Yeah. He just goes where he goes. Since the lesson with Yakra is he'll counterattack you unless you're right next to him, he moves around a lot so that you get the chance to have that opportunity, I think.
And I see Lyra is also using, I don't know if it's a frenzy band or a rage band that will grant the characters a counter, a free normal attack counter.
Another glacier. And as you can see, the message "too close can't counterattack." That was key, doing it from Marl's menu, because he probably could have countered if Frog had been the one to set it off. Back to the save point. Usually a good call. Although for the very brave, there is actually a menu glitch right before the first Lavos fight, when the screen goes black in the Mammon Machine chamber. So if you like flirting with danger, you can try that.
Yeah, because that's the, although it helps you if you forget something, but that's not a very
Yeah, that's usually what I do. I go back to the save point and then I'll be like, "Oh no, I forgot to equip something," and then I'll use the menu glitch. Yeah, and that one's actually pretty easy to get. The window is pretty generous, so, if you need it, it's there.
And here we go again, fighting Lavos.
Yep. Into Lavos. Throw the sword at the machine. So it's a really nice little touch, actually, in Jets of Time. So we all know from vanilla Chrono Trigger that when the ruby knife was thrown at the Mammon Machine, it turned into the Masamune sword. If you used the Magus's Castle Go mode instead of the Tyranno Go mode, where you'd already have the ruby knife, as the players did today, the ruby knife won't get thrown at the Mammon Machine, the Masamune will. And I really like that little detail.
Interesting. Yeah, considering Lyra is at level, I think 37.
Something like that, at least.
Yeah, this fight shouldn't go that bad if she has some status protection on.
We'll see. Okay, there's the 2 stops. Stop is about the worst. Mostly because this game really does come down to turn economy, so you just don't want anything that takes your turns away.
Also, in Jets of Time, we can use Cure 2 to remove status effects and heal your character. So
yes, that has saved my butt a couple of times.
Yeah. I don't like. Oops. Ouch.
Ouch. The tricky thing is that Lavos 1 is exceptionally fast, so you don't want to get stuck in a revive loop.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to figure this fight out if you know, like, you have to face obstacle, and obstacle is a stop, and I mean, he's going to cycle through, and he's going to.
Ooh.
Oh.
Up. Not much you can do about that one. I don't. Maybe it eventually wears off, but I've never stuck around to find out. Yep.
So, amulets are available, so it should go better now.
No, it's completely understandable wanting to put other stuff in your accessory slots. But I mean, you've got power seals and magic seals, and you want the damage up, prism specs. There's so many nice options, and by the end of a seed, you've probably got a few of them. But that randomized obstacle can just ruin your day, so you really have to be careful of it. And Inner Lavos, as we saw earlier, does it too.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to kill both arms and then finish off being triple stops, because.
Yep.
Here we go again. Yeah, haste. I think here is a really good idea. Like keeping Maul protect against obstacle with an amulet. Like she's going to be really fast, so she can use Cure 2 or heal. Wow, 2,000 damage on Aspire. That's not bad.
Not at all.
I wonder how much damage would Axe Strike be doing.
Yeah, I would really like to see. I would think more.
There's also something to note about haste itself, that usually what you would like to would you like to do is like use haste before you do your action with your character, because if you do it later, haste is only going to be effective in the next turn. So.
Yes. And actually, that goes for slow as well. So if your character gets inflicted with slow, until their ATB bar is full, it's going to still go at the pace it was before. So, like, you still have time to heal it without necessarily eating a really slow turn.
That is true.
More Glacier.
I think it's kind of unfortunate that Arcane Pulse is not available, I think.
Yeah, I don't remember if it is or not. I thought Leap Slash was learned, but we might still be missing something else. I'm not sure, though. I thought, is it Spin Cut or is it Confuse?
It's Spin Cut.
Okay.
Maybe Chrono doesn't know Spin Cut?
Possibly. Yeah,
oh, there's
that
Ice
Sword
for
2 is
4,000
nice.
damage.
Yeah, that's the stuff.
That's what we want from now on. Give us more Ice Sword 2. Oh, I can pause. Let's see if that's going to do more. Okay. That's not as much as Ice Sword 2, actually.
But swag points. We still like seeing it.
Yeah, finishing off with a triple tag. Nice. stylish.
Absolutely. All right, and there's the last save point. Yeah, we do like the dual techs playing jets. Triples are often not worth the turns you have to put into them. Singles can miss and they're weaker. Often the combo techs have a little bit of a multiplier on the base power of what goes into them and are more than the sum of their parts, and that is very nice too.
Yeah, I guess the most notable triple techs to go for are those that are based off triple kick. So Gatling kick, final kick,
Yep.
3D attack. I think
Those are
those are
triple kick ones, yeah.
yeah.
Twister's not bad either for Ayla, but that's like a magic one for Tailspin. Yeah, this is the part of the Lavos 2 fight we talked about a little bit, but you have to be very careful because Lavos will open up his chest plate and bathe you in his glorious light, and that will do, a decent amount of damage. Shouldn't kill you, but the little sickle boomerangs he fires from his arms very soon after that almost always will, and unless you are super sure you can get those arms down in one go. One of them, the left one, has 4,000 and I think the right one has 5,000. If you aren't positive you can do that, play defensively. You got to be super sure about that one.
This the initial part of this fight is very nerving because it's like there are a lot of RNG also taking place here because he will shoot like 2 boomerangs and maybe it will one-shot someone, or maybe if he like aims at the same character both times, it's going to kill the character.
Yeah, absolutely. It's at least lucky that it's only a 1 in 6 chance that he aims the 2 initial boomerangs at the same person.
That's a reason why it's a good idea to start this fight if you have, for example, a green dream, because the green dream item will grant you a auto revive.
Yep.
Oh, Aljo's back. Nice.
Nice. My video's a little slow, so I don't know what the damage is like on that leap slash. But,
okay, yeah.
But Ice Sword 2 and leap slash is not a bad call for this team, I think.
Indeed.
Sometimes with your 3 characters, it's about figuring out, okay, what is your most damaging double tech along with the most damaging single tech from the other character? Like, what is the configuration to get the most damage out of those 3 actions? It's not always what you'd think.
Yeah, if I don't think Lyra's actually counting the damage, because another Ice Sword 2 with a lip slash I think would have it's only 10,000, that's like 4.4 thousand. No, it's 7. Okay.
3.7. Well, I think it was 4 point something before, but the poison
before
the
the
damage.
poison, yeah.
Yeah. Poison will do that in this game, and I think so will slow, and well, I don't know how many other status effects let you still use your turn, but most of them seem to lower your attack. All right.
Here we go again.
Yep.
Oh, no, menu glitch.
Ooh. Black. Oh, nope. So interestingly enough, that menu glitch, because the whole room is a cutscene, you can get it by sound. It'll always be at the exact same point in the song. So if you're particularly like musically adept and have a harder time watching the screen go black, that's totally a way to get the menu glitch. I think it only works with this one though, because this is the only one where the music will always be in the same place at the same time.
Mm. That is a tough situation, considering Chrono is dead, but with life too, she's able to put him back up. Spell random status. Okay.
You hate to see it.
Only one character was affected. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
So also a thing to note, if that is something like chaos, and you can actually wait for the next time warp, because that's going to count as a attack, and the chaos is going to wear off. But that's not going to happen with stop.
No, just chaos.
And every advantage you can get in this fight.
Yep. You should definitely take them.
Mm-hmm.
There's an evil star. And as you can see, even though the center bit effectively skips every other turn because that's the time warp, it's still pretty nasty, and you don't want to deal with that thing much longer than you have to. Sometimes left bit strats are faster, but you really have to have the right setup to pull that off, I think.
Lava score, shuts off defense.
What we're looking for. At this point, hopefully, it'll just be text to the end. All right, so 4,400. So if you do some extra attacks,
No, that's 5,000.
Yep. Oh, I want to see how much the X strike does.
Good, setting up haste so that
Mm-hmm. If you don't think you can one cycle Lavos 3, then haste is not a bad call.
Indeed.
So as to that, I'm not sure. I think she maybe could have, or at least when I say one cycle, I mean before it turns its defense back on, which is after it revives the other bits. So I sort of still call that a one cycle, but I don't know if other people do. I suppose killing it before the bits come back would be the quick kill in like gamer terminology.
Yeah, it's quite rare.
Yeah.
Most of the times we have to face the center again.
Mm-hmm.
But by the time you're actually more, if you have mod in the party, you can just haste everyone, and that's going to be fairly easier to kill the center again.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and now a glacier on the right bit. And another luminaire. Yeah, if this kills the center bit, then no, it didn't kill the center bit. We would have seen the counterattack. I think that was close.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I am not counting, but we should be.
Okay. Yeah, glancing at chat. I do apologize. We're over time, and as soon as this run is done, we will be signing off. And thank you so much, everyone who's staying with us.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
We appreciate you.
And thank you, thank you, everyone. Thank you, SpeedGaming.
Yeah,
thank you, Betsy, for
having us.
commentating.
Yeah, thanks for being my co-coms. This has been fun.
Yeah.
Okay. I think this Luminaire...
Yeah.
GG.
GG. GG, Lyra. Thank you. Thank you all for watching.
Yeah. GG. We've got to sign off because we are over time. But GG to Lyra and to Azure Kale and our winner, St. Von Jester, sniping that win out with like the power of killing it with fire. And we will see everyone, hopefully, at our next Jets run, wherever we are out on the internet. And everybody stay tuned. I think it's Breath of Fire next with Trenton. It's probably going to be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, have fun. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.